Good evening. I'm Patrick Smith, Membership Director for WPSU. I'm joined in the studio by my incredible friend and colleague, Jessica Peters. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Absolutely. And we are here tonight to celebrate our town, the Cove.
Yes. Yes.
We have stories from all across the region in Roaring Spring and Martinsburg, stories that you are going to love, told by your friends and neighbors.
And you want to stick around because we've got a great palette of stories tonight. I was just reading through the whole list. We have an opportunity for you to get a copy of the show tonight, and that copy, your DVD copy that you can make a pledge to receive as your thank you gift, also includes bonus features, things that we're not going to be able to show during the broadcast tonight. So we have great stories to share, great tales to be told, all courtesy of your friends and neighbors from our town, the Cove. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay next to your TV, stay next to your phone. We'll be back very shortly with more.
Hello, I'm Rex Hartman. I'm Mayor of Martinsburg.
I'm Ronald Glunt. I'm the Mayor of Roaring Spring. Welcome to the Cove.
Welcome to the Cove. Located in the southern part of Blair County, the Cove is a beautiful limestone valley that includes Martinsburg and Roaring Spring. People from the Cove display a vibrant sense of community and are proud of its history, unmatched beauty, and future promise. Join us as several Covites show and tell what makes their community a great hometown. Your friends and neighbors welcome you to Our Town, the Cove. Support for Our Town, the Cove comes from Richie's Dairy, serving the Cove and central western Pennsylvania with quality milk and dairy products for over 75 years. Richie's Dairy, fresh from farm to you since 1940. Information at richiesdairy.com. NPC, supporting the Cove community and providing employment opportunities for self-reliant individuals since 1954. Delivering useful, relevant, and often critical communication solutions for customers. Learn more at npcweb.com. Cove Lumber, serving the Cove with building materials and design services, including kitchen and bath, for more than 32 years. Offering quality framing lumber, treated lumber, insulation, siding, hardware, and more. Proud to support the community. More at covelumber.com. Roaring Spring Water, providing bottled spring water, water coolers, and coffee service to homes and businesses in central Pennsylvania and beyond. Apvion Spring Mill, a fully integrated pulp and paper mill producing carbonless, security, high-speed inkjet, colored, and specialty papers, making various types of paper in Roaring Spring for more than 150 years. Information at apvion.com. Roaring Spring VFW Post 7689, with special services for combat veterans and active duty combat veterans. More information at 224-5828. The Borough of Roaring Spring, incorporated in 1887. Celebrating the area's residents and heritage and sharing the beauty of the town's natural spring. Information at roaringspring.net. The Nason Foundation, supporting the health and vitality of the Cove through financial support and education. Proud to support Our Town, the Cove. Information at nasonfoundation.org. And from the Morrison's Cove Herald, providing community news and sports to Morrison's Cove every week since 1885. Spring Mill Employees Federal Credit Union, located along Route 36 in Roaring Spring, serving the Cove for more than 60 years. Information at springmillcu.com. Conemaugh Nason Medical Center, caring for the community since 1900, providing safe, high-quality, compassionate care, and committed to promoting the health and well-being of central Pennsylvania residents in Blair, Bedford, and Huntingdon counties. Roots in the Cove, a full-service florist, greenhouse, gift shop, landscaping, and garden center, serving Morrison's Cove through all seasons. Information at rootsinthecove.com. The Morrison's Cove Rotary Club, dedicated to service to the community since 1926. Information at morrisonscoverotary.org. Altoona Blair County Airport, offering daily service to Pittsburgh International and Baltimore Washington International. With connections to over 500 flights, serving over 100 destinations domestically and abroad. Information at flyaltoona.com. New Enterprise Stone and Lime, with locations throughout central Pennsylvania and New York. producers of crushed stone and sand, as well as materials for blacktop, building, heavy highway, and civil construction. Information at nesl.com. D. Merle Tipton, VFW Post 43, Martinsburg, a supporter of first responders, charities, and veterans organizations since 1935. Information at vfwpost43.com. And viewers like you, thank you.
I'm Daniel Hoover, and I'm here to talk about the founding of Roaring Spring. The spring in Roaring Spring is really why the town is here. It is a body of water that flows at 8 million gallons per day, and as a result of that, it was the natural resource that allowed many, many businesses that grew up in Roaring Spring to be here. First business really was a grist mill that started back in probably the 1850s. And there was a small hamlet of homes here. And in 1863, Daniel Bear's father purchased that grist mill, and Daniel Bear and his wife moved to Roaring Spring. And from that grist mill business, Daniel Bear, who was an entrepreneur, started the paper mill in 1863, which then became the genesis of people moving here to work. From there, he started the Roaring Spring Blank Book Company in 1887, which took paper from that paper mill and created what was called back then blank books, putting lines on paper to write and record information. And from a beginning of 4 homes in Roaring Spring, by the time he died in 1925, the population of Roaring Spring was 2,800. Out of the Roaring Spring Blank Book Company has grown several other businesses. The Spring Cove Container, which manufactures corrugated shipping containers, started in 1963. The latest business is Roaring Spring Water, which started in 1981. We have grown into a company that's predominantly selling 3 and 5 gallon bottles, home office delivery. We serve 22,000 customers, and we employ just shy of 100 employees in that business. We are still family owned, and I am 5th generation, and we have a 6th generation descendant of D.M. Bear working in the company. And throughout all of the generations, there has been always an effort to give back to the community. I really know a lot about D.M. Bear because he kept a very detailed diary, which I actually have on my desk where I work. And I know that his true motivation was to build a community that was going to be good for everybody that lived there. And so it's meaningful to me that that's continuing here 5 generations later, and I am absolutely certain that D.M. Bear is looking down on what's happening here and smiling.
I'm Jennifer Wyant, and I'm going to be talking about the Everett Railroad today. So what I know from the Everett Railroad is that I believe that they're based out of Hollidaysburg. They have an office there at the Y Switches in Hollidaysburg, and they do run from there out here to Roaring Spring. And they deliver products that go into the animal feed, chemicals for the paper company. And so on a given day, any day between 8 and 2, if you travel the road between Hollidaysburg and here, you're likely to see the Everett Railroad diesels coming up. Their diesels do most of the work during the week for them. And then on most weekends from spring to Christmas, you'll see the steam engine, the number 11 steam engine, running in this area. The typical excursion runs from the Hollidaysburg office, and it will come out a little past Clatter Station on its way to Roaring Spring. And then they switch tracks and reverse, and you go back the other way. My boys love the excursions. We go on almost every single Everett Railroad excursion. They have various things from Day Out with Santa, where you can go and meet Santa, to Easter egg hunts, to pumpkin patch. There is an ice cream excursion that involves Richie's Dairy. They love that one because if you get sweets and trains, you've got a kid sold for sure. The boys have really come to love the Everett Railroad, and we've created a bond with them. So much so that they've actually invited our oldest to come in and look at their trains and kind of tour their sheds, we call them at our house, to see the trains. And so they've been a really great business for this area and really sell a nice experience. This area is so much of a community. There's a lot to do for families, especially we have young kids, and there's always things for us to find and do here. And of course, the Everett Railroad's been a big part of that. We have friends that travel from Johnstown to the Everett Railroad, or will come from the Bloomsburg area to the Everett Railroad. There's nowhere else we'd rather be than here.
I am Melissa Fetzer, and I am president of the Martinsburg Boosters Association. The Boosters Association has been active since back in the 1920s. The first project that they adopted was the Morrison's Cove Memorial Park. It's a very strong community asset, and over all of these years, that has been one of our major functions. Last summer, we took over the renovation of the Acorn Park. Everything structurally is in good shape. What was deteriorating was the equipment, the swings, the slides. There was a conveyor belt that kids used to run across, the sand digger, which is one of the favorites. Starting in this spring, we're going to do the rest of the renovations, which will be to install all the new equipment, remulch, power wash the whole outside wood area, and put linseed oil on it for preservation. We have also supported other community activities, such as the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts. We support the Scarlet Dragon Packs program. The Boosters also sponsored the mural that's on the side of Mamie's, and everybody in the area now is pretty familiar with the Mamie's restaurant in town. Mamie was Mamie Teeter, and she originally ran a hotel that was sitting in the spot where the parking lot is, and the hotel burned down. So when they took that out of there, it left a big gap on the main street there. So the Boosters decided to take the brick wall on the side of the building where Mamie's is and have a mural put up there. It's a replica of the hotel, is what it is. One of our major fundraisers, which we do every year, is a chicken barbecue. We have a good response from the community, and we have people that are good cooks. They do a good job. We were selling about 1,000 chickens. I come from a family that's been very community active. My dad was president of the Boosters at one time. My mom was part of the Civic Club, and it's just sort of in my blood, I guess. I think people who live in small towns have a sense of community, or they wouldn't be in a small town. You know people talk, you say, well, we need to do this. Maybe you're a little closer to the needs of what the community is. And I don't know what it is about community spirit. When there's a need, you just try to fill it. And if you see a need, well, I can do that. Maybe I can help out.
I'm Randy Stoltz, and I'm here to talk about the beginning of Morrison's Cove and some of the changes that have occurred through the years. Morrison's Cove was part of the original Albany purchase in 1754. William Penn's sons, Richard and Thomas, made a deal with the Native Americans that were here at the time. After the Penn brothers purchased this area, there was a surveyor who surveyed all of Morrison's Cove, and his name was James Morrison. And on a 1770 map that we have in the Martinsburg Borough Building, it is actually listed as Morrison's Cove on that map. The Martinsburg area became a post town in 1817. The soil was rich for farming, so farmers moved in, and there were a lot of confrontation with the Indians at that time. Martinsburg has the distinction of being the oldest continuously incorporated borough in Blair County. Martinsburg's pretty much a farming community, so there were a lot of little industries that came in that helped with that. There's a tannery, or some brick plants, little stores, retail stores. And because Martinsburg is right in the center of Morrison's Cove, there was a lot of traffic through the town. We were very instrumental during the Civil War in supplying both materials and manpower. Morson's Cove had over 950 men that served in the Civil War. We had a committee that was formed called the Revitalization Committee. They had a vision to make the town have a little more curb appeal. We were able to secure several grants, and a few years ago we replaced some 100-year-old sidewalk. We stenciled a brick pattern on over 1,700 feet of the sidewalk. We put up over 40 solar lamp post lights, banners, and then we put a community clock right in front of the post office. We built a 1 million-gallon storage tank for the water system. It's been improved with 2 new wells. We built a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment facility. I've had lots of positive input on all the improvements. I enjoy living here. I've lived here all my life. Martinsburg is a small borough. We only have 1,958 people, but the surrounding areas are growing and there's room for new business and new industry. And it's been gratifying to me to be able to be in a position to move development forward. Hopefully we can continue to move ahead.
My name is Sean Orsick, and I'm a local large animal veterinarian here in the Cove, and I've lived here for 23 years. The Cove is very active in many, many different kinds of agriculture. We have primarily dairy farms, but we have both large and small pork producers. We have some chicken producers. We have a lot of grain farming that goes along to support all of those industries. Plus, we have the orchard industry, lots of apples and peaches. The other thing is the produce farms. They have a weekly auction, and they supply grocery stores. I work with primarily with dairy cattle, helping the farmers with breeding, production problems, disease management, and reproduction, as well as I work with horses and swine and even some backyard chicken flocks. When I arrived here 20-some years ago, there were not very many farms that were over 250 cattle. Now, most of the farms are 200 plus. We have some very larger farms that are 1,500 to 2,000. It's just easier to have more animals and less total infrastructure to support those. It's a tough life. It has to be almost bred into you in order to continue to do this generation after generation. And those are the kind of people I really like to work with. A lot of farms, I almost see myself as part of the family. One of the things they did not prepare me for in veterinary school was to be a family counselor on occasion. The young veterinarian out of school didn't think that he was going to stay. And we found out that there's a lot more to life than just making a buck. The people here, they drew me in with their hospitality and their friendliness and their warmth. I really didn't want to give that part up. They became such a part of my life that I didn't want that to go away.
Hi, my name's Andrew Ritchie. I did my video on Ritchie's Dairy. Ritchie's Dairy was started in August of 1940. It was started by my great-grandfather. His name was Oliver C. Ritchie. He was a farmer all his life, and he had lived in the Cove. He always had a dream of opening an ice cream shop. In August of 1940, he realized that dream. He built a little 36 by 40-foot building on his farm. In 1944, as the dairy was growing, he asked my grandfather if he could come back and really help him get it off the ground. So my grandpa came back and brought his family back to the Cove and took over managing the dairy in 1944. My dad was 10 years old. His name's Reed Ritchie. He started working on the farm and started working in the dairy as well. Reed is the owner of Ritchie's Dairy, and I am the general manager of Ritchie's Dairy. We've grown to the point where we now serve 7 different counties. We are one of the few dairies left in the state that still have a home delivery. The bulk of our business has to do with grocery stores, convenience stores, schools, any establishment that needs dairy products. We're a full-service ice cream shop. We have hand-dipped ice cream as well as soft-serve ice cream. We make our own ice cream sandwiches. We even bake waffle cones fresh every day. It always smells really good in the ice cream shop. The dairy business is always challenging. It changes all the time. I think we're very fortunate that we have really good employees that give good service, to the customers. In this day and age, people really appreciate service, and I feel like our employees go above and beyond.
Hi, I'm Charlene Dotson. I'm owner of Charlotte's Trove in Roaring Spring, and I'm really going to talk about why I created Charlotte's Trove and the people that it represents. It really started with my parents. In 1954, they came to Roaring Spring, Pennsylvania from Danville. They started a small printing business. It was News Printing Company at the time. Eventually, they got into government printing and a variety of different printing. The business continued to grow, and in the early 90s, they vacated the Roaring Spring facility that I'm in now, and they moved to Claysburg. And as my mom retired from the printing business, she would cook and she would talk to people about the culture of the company. They loved to go antiquing, wandering around the country, I guess, picking up treasures. That building really became Charlotte's building, a way for her to share their collection and to share her love of entertaining. I lost my mother in 2009. Someone described my mother once to me as being a warm blanket on a cold day. And I thought, wouldn't it be really cool to take this building and pay tribute to her? My mom just loved boutique shopping, and so I thought, let's do that. People could come in and see some really cool artwork and woodwork and also get to do a little shopping. We took the training room and we turned it into our event room. And we do a lot of baby showers and bridal showers and rehearsal dinners. And the cafe, it would just be fun to have a place for our community to come in, share a cup of coffee, have a nice lunch. So just kind of borrowed everything from my mom that she loved to do. That's how I came up with the name Charlotte's Trove. My mother was Charlotte, and they were her treasures. I'd like to think that she'd be very proud of it. She was that type of person that I think walking into the front door, she would love what she saw. I grew up here. It's home to me. And then I spent time away from here. I just realized that I wanted my children to be around a community of people that cared about them and a community of people that felt a little smaller, that we could feel a little more connected.
There's more to come as we explore the many programs available at the local YMCA, take in some tunes with the community choir, and visit some cute and cuddly goats. But first, please show your support for the Cove and WPSU by making a pledge. Thanks.
Good evening and welcome back to the WPSU studios. I am Patrick Smith. We have just enjoyed the very first segment of Our Town, the Cove, and we're very, very happy to have you with us tonight. Very happy to have a great crew of volunteers seated here behind me. Give yourselves a round of applause. A lot of people helped make this show what it is tonight. It's a great show. There's some fabulous stories that you've seen so far and many, many more to come. But remember, this is not only a show that celebrates Our Town, the Cove, it's a show that celebrates public broadcasting, your local public broadcasting station, WPSU. These shows are a great way for us to get out and work in the community. They're a great way for us to tell stories that need to be told. And frankly, it's a great way for you to help your public television station by making a gift. And tonight, when you call 1-800-245-9779, if you make a gift of $75, we can share with you the complete DVD of the program we're broadcasting tonight. Not only will it be the complete DVD, but it will have bonus material as well. I think we have at least 2 bonus, maybe 3 bonus segments that are on that DVD that you receive as our way of saying thank you for your gift of $75. Hey, maybe you'd like a copy, but you've got an out-of-town friend, somebody who used to live in the Cove, in the area of the Cove, and you'd like them to have a copy too? Well, make a gift of $120 and we'll thank you with 2 DVDs tonight. But what starts with that first person who makes that first call and kicks things off. So that number again is 1-800-245-9779. And I'm going to turn this over to my friend and colleague Jessica Peters, who's going to talk about perhaps a little added incentive for getting that call in early and getting this show on the road. Jessica.
Absolutely. We have a goal tonight of 250 calls from all around the Cove to call in and to support your public television station and Our Town the Cove. There's call number 1 right now. Now, if you make your call during this first break, we are matching dollar for dollar up to $1,000, a challenge that was brought forth by Homewood at Martinsburg. We want to thank them so much for their support. Dollar for dollar challenge going on right now. Make your gift, 1-800-245-9779. And to learn a little bit more about Homewood, I'm joined by Carolyn Donaldson.
Thank you, Jessica. That's right. I have with me a Covite, adopted Covite, and another Covite, Monica Naus, who is with Homewood, as well as Fred Marsick, who became a Covite 3 years ago, living in Homewood. So, Monica, tell us a little bit about why Homewood has stepped up to the plate and done this challenge, and what you want other Homewood residents to do right now.
Well, Homewood is excited to partner with WPSU and our fellow neighbors and friends from across the Cove that are here tonight and watching also at home. And Homewood has over 350 residents. It started out as a very small nursing home in Martinsburg and has continued to grow. Our residents, our staff, our volunteers all come from the surrounding community. So it's really exciting to be a part of this and to give back in a way.
That's wonderful. And Fred, you joined the Homewood family about 3 years ago. Tell us your story about being a part of Homewood.
Yes, about 3 years ago, and my wife and I, Nancy, really enjoy it. It's a wonderful facility, and lots of things are being done there, and lots of volunteer work.
That's wonderful. And Homewood giving back, and I'm hearing the phones ring. I'm hoping there are residents of Homewood who are calling right now, 1-800-245-9779. Now, the folks that are answering the phone, if you are a Covite, you'll recognize who's on the other end, because these are the people who brought you these stories from Our Town, the Cove. So when you hear and make that call right now to 1-800-245-9779, make sure to ask them, who am I talking to? And you'll likely know who they are. Isn't that right, Monica?
Absolutely. Looking around the room tonight and seeing a lot of familiar faces, that's been exciting. And it really speaks to the closeness of the Cove and just how, what a special place it is. And I think there's a lot of small towns out there that feel the same way. You know, there's a closeness to that everybody feels, and family friendly, and lots of things to do. But I think with the Cove, there's just a notch above where we really pull together and things like this.
That's right. And again, as we talked about deciding where the towns were for Our Town this series, right away we thought of you guys and the community spirit that you have. And Fred, you probably have sensed that since becoming a resident.
It's a great community spirit. Yes.
Yeah, and look, it's responding by calling. So can you tell us the number to call? I don't know if you can see it there.
Where are we? Okay, 1-800-245-9779. Call right away. We'll be glad to.
And if you don't want to get on the phone and talk to our friendly Covites, you can also call or go online to wpsu.org. I'm going to send it back over to Pat. We got lots of calls coming, Pat.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. Appreciate that. Absolutely. The number to call right now is 1-800-245-9779. You can, as Carolyn mentioned, make your gift online as well. You can do that at wpsu.org. Go there, hit the donate button, and it will take you directly to our contribution page. You can make your gift courtesy of our online secure server. Please, whatever your reason for giving, whatever amount you'd like to give, take advantage of this break and make that gift now. We have a challenge in effect, so if you make a $75 gift for a DVD, well, that gets matched with $75 courtesy of our challenge sponsor, Homewood at Martinsburg. So your gift essentially becomes the equivalent of $150 to help this station produce, to pay for and produce not only Our Town, the Cove, but all the future Our Towns that we'll do next year and the year after that, and all of the other local programming that we want to be bringing you. So your dollars matter. Your dollars go to work. If you call that 800 number, 800-245-9779, and you get a busy signal, that's okay. Wait 2 minutes and call back. It's a pretty quick transaction. Our volunteers are well trained. They're going to take the necessary information. They're going to help you make that contribution, and then they're going to get you off the line, and they're going to go to the next caller. So we want to keep those volunteers busy. Remember, busy volunteers are happy volunteers, and your help tonight is what makes this show and all of the other programming you find on this station possible. Go to the phone now, 1-800-245-9779, online at wpsu.org. Hit the contribute button on that page or the donate button on that page and make your gift there as well. Remember, a goal tonight, we'd love to hear from 250 residents of the Cove, and we'd love to hear from you next. Jessica.
We are off to a fantastic start, and all of these folks are also getting to take advantage of that $1,000 Homewood at Martinsburg challenge that is in effect right now whenever you make your call at 1-800-245-9779. Now, we also are going to be thanking a lot of folks on air tonight. So we want to get started here. We have some folks to thank. First couple names are names. I was lucky enough to do some fundraising for the program. So that guy you see on camera right now, Alan Bassler, thank you so much to Alan for his support as an underwriter and for supporting the program tonight. Another familiar name in Roaring Spring, Dan and Cindy Hoover, another underwriter of the program. Thanks so much for your support. And you also saw his story earlier in the show. Thank you so much. Thanks to Clayton Pheasant of Alexandria. Clayton says he moved away, but now he's back in the area. Well, welcome back. We hope you're enjoying the program this morning. And an anonymous gift from Roaring Spring. You know who you are. Thank you so much. Won't you be the next one? I would say the next one to call in at 1-800-245-9779, but it looks like all of our phones are busy right now, but hold on a minute, give it a minute. It'll be open in just a moment, or you can always go online to wpsu.org. Carolyn?
Oh, Jessica, this is wonderful. We are hearing from so many folks, and maybe the challenge beyond our wonderful Homewood challenge of the first $1,000, $1 for $1 matches, maybe between communities. We also want to mention that folks are calling in from throughout the Cove and beyond, and we'll try to keep track of who's calling from Roaring Spring, who's calling from Martinsburg. There you see some of our great storytellers, Tim Hartlerode from Nason Hospital, Conemaugh, Duke Life Point there calling in. Steve Mowry's story's coming up. He's got that amazing cow and his bell just rang. And of course, Alan Basler has his own personal story about his great-grandfather's bell. So you want to stay tuned, and we thank Marlene Gibson, and she's from Roaring Spring, who made a pledge here tonight. Thank you so much, Marlene, for calling in. And then over in East Freedom, Pennsylvania, Daniel Druzak made a pledge here today. And again, we welcome your pledge, and we want to let you know that, again, for this first break, we are going to try to get at least $1,000 matched from you folks calling in, and Homewood, our great Homewood residents and community, Homewood of Martinsburg, will match that 1-to-1. So they'll chip in an extra $1,000 to get our fund drive off on a big way. And for that $75 pledge, which is one of the ways that we'd love for you to do, that entitles you to your own copy of the Cove. Beyond tonight's broadcast, you can watch it anytime, and it includes 2 bonus features. The stories of the Cove were so much we couldn't even pack them in to a live show, and so we've actually added some bonus features on to the end, including this very rare footage of the Roaring Spring anniversary from 1932. We've obtained that video, and we've been able to put that as part of that bonus edition. And then if you have a friend that used to live in the Cove, as we said, or a relative, for a $120 donation, you can get 2 copies of the DVD. 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call. And again, if it's busy, which it looks like all of our lines are, and we thank you and we welcome those calls, continue to make that phone, pick up that phone and just hit redial. We'll make sure to get to that call. And thank you for those pledges calling in. Let's go to Pat and see who else has been calling in. Pat?
Thank you, Carolyn. Yes, we have, actually, this is kind of interesting. It's our first long-distance call of the evening. We heard from Ann and Blair Bice of Alexandria, Louisiana. So from deep in the heart of the South, a big shout-out to OurTown, the Cove. Thank you so much to you folks for making your gift. We'd like to thank Jim and Cindy Myers of Martinsburg, Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for your gift tonight. Great to hear from you. A big shout out to Chuck and Lou Kensinger of Martinsburg. Thank you for your gift tonight. And also a shout out to Randy Stoltz of Martinsburg. Thank you for calling in, making your gift of support. Great to hear from you as well. We would love to hear from you next. If you've got friends and neighbors who are out of town and maybe you didn't have the chance to let them know that this program was being streamed, you can always do that now. Again, send them an email, give them a call, let them know that they can catch the streaming at wpsu.org and see the program here as well. A great opportunity to reach out to old friends, old neighbors, relatives who maybe aren't in the area anymore. Make that call now. And remember, in this first break, we do have a challenge going. We're trying to get off with a big start. courtesy of a challenge from Homewood at Martinsburg. That first $1,000 that you as callers make with your contributions, they will match dollar for dollar. Your call right now at 1-800-245-9779 or your gift online at wpsu.org makes that match possible. So please go to the phone, go to your computer, make your contribution, do your part now. Jessica.
It got a little bit quiet, a little bit of lull in activity. We have a couple of lines open, so now is your chance. If you were waiting and you're like, oh my gosh, it's busy, 1-800-245-9779 is the number that you can call. You can talk to Tim or Steve back here. Oh, now you can just talk to Steve. 1-800-245-9779. Remember, for a contribution of $75, we'll send you a copy of tonight's program. All 29 stories plus 2 bonus features. That's for $75. Or you could contribute $120 and we'll send you 2 DVDs, one to keep and maybe one to send to a relative who maybe lives out of town or wants to donate to the library. Your choice. $75 for 1 copy, $120 for 2. We'd also love to thank you on air, and I have a stack of folks to thank. Thanks to Eugene Sauer of Altoona for your gift this evening. To Richard Reeve of Martinsburg, thanks so much for your gift of support. Thanks to Sherry and Sonny Stewart of Roaring Spring. Thank you also for your gift this evening. Mila Gay Raw, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, of Roaring Spring. Thank you so much for your gift. We have an anonymous gift from Duncansville. Great to hear from Duncansville this evening. Thanks to Kim and Gracie and Isabella and Avery Swindle of Martinsburg. Thank you so much for your gift this evening. And thank you to Rich and Beth Thomas of Roaring Spring. Won't you be the next one that we thank at 1-800-245-9779. Carolyn?
This is the best of public media. This, you see it in action. These are your stories from the Cove, and they're taught and told by the folks that are answering the phones right now. And there are a few lines open now, so we'd love to make those phones keep ringing for our busy volunteers. They took their night out, drove all the way up from the Cove to meet us here and be with us here as part of our family. At 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call and make your pledge to public media. Thank you so much for those calls that are coming in. We want to thank Joe and Jean Wilkinson from Roaring Spring, another Roaring Spring pledge. We thank that. Mike and Connie Lamborn from Martinsburg calling in their pledge, and Esther Long from Martinsburg. So we know the Covites have been responding, and we thank you so much. This is what community is about, and this is what we try to tell, those stories about your community. You're going to hear many more coming up, so don't go away. Again, we've got pygmy goat stories, we've got Alan Bachelor's family bell story, we've got Steve Mowry's award-winning cow story, Chuck and his wonderful Morrison Cove Memorial Park, and all the wonderful things that are going out in the Cove. But right now, we're taking this time and trying to meet that challenge match from our friends at Homewood of Martinsburg. Again, this is just this break. We want to get to the $1,000 mark so that we know we'll go into the next part of our program with at least $2,000 towards our WPSU goal tonight. Again, thank you to Homewood of Martinsburg. Pick up those phones right now, 1-800-245-9779. And one thing that we'll also get as a bonus, and we just want to mention it tonight, for that $75 pledge, in addition to that great DVD that you can take home with that extra video and extra stories on it, you also now have the opportunity to become a Passport member. You'll be getting in a few days an email that'll direct you to perhaps sign up and receive your own app that gets you programming from WPSU instant on your tablet, on your phone, wherever you want to put it. So it's a new bonus. It's called Passport, and we'll learn more about that. But it's a new feature, a value-added service that we're offering to our members. This is a great part of being the public media family, and we'd love you to join it. Whether you're from the Cove or from outside, the stories that can be told here are amazing. 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call. Pat?
I have a few people I'd like to thank. I'd like to thank Helen Brumbaugh of Martinsburg. Says she's enjoying the show. Thank you so much, Helen. We really love being able to bring that to you. Would like to thank Linda K. Smith, who also made a gift and says she enjoys the show. Also, had a nice comment on here saying, look, we kind of miss Lawrence Welk. We really enjoyed when the Lawrence Welk Show was on WPSU for a number of years. Would like to thank Margaret Spineforth of Martinsburg, Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for your generous gift of support tonight. And I'd like to thank Doug and Christopher Bush Bush of Martinsburg. Thank you so much for going to the phone, making a call, and talking to our volunteers and making a gift to support this station. We have a lot of great stories yet to come. We've got about 3 minutes left before we go back to the show, so I would encourage you, make your call now. Let's keep it busy. Happy volunteers are the volunteers who are busy. Happy volunteers are the people who know they've had a successful night here, helping tout the many, many virtues and advantages of their community and doing their part to help this station. So call 1-800-245-9779. Do it now during the break, because later you're going to want to see the feature on pygmy goats. You're going to want to see the feature from NCP Printing. You're also going to want to see the feature on Mamie's Café. And I confess, I haven't seen that feature, but I'm in favor of any place called Mamie's because inherently it's a good time. 1-800-245-9779. Go to the phone. Let's light them up. Let's keep them lit up. Do your part now. Jessica.
Listen, if there is one thing that I learned about being in the Cove, is that they will feed you well. I gained weight working on this show, so I think that the audience at home owes it to me. I gained weight for this show. So give us a call, 1-800-245-9779. I have some more folks I'd love to thank this evening. Carolyn Painter of Hollidaysburg, thank you so much for your gift this evening. Great to hear from Hollidaysburg. Thanks to Lloyd and Betty Blattenberger of Martinsburg. Thank you so much for your gift of support. Yes, we do. Thank you to Sandy Elliott of Martinsburg. Thank you for your gift. And an anonymous gift from Roaring Spring. There is still time to make your gift to that challenge grant this evening by Homewood at Martinsburg. Give us a call, 1-800-245-9779. Carolyn?
Oh, we've got more folks to thank. Pastor Mary Hendricks from Martinsburg, thank you so much for pledging and being a part of the Cove community with your ministry work. And a very special thank you to Dr. Lori Bechtel-Weary and Tim Weary. Of course, they are our wonderful Penn State Chancellor, Dr. Lori Bechtel-Weary, but she is a Covite. She lives in Martinsburg. Her children live in Martinsburg, and we thank you so much, Lori, for making that pledge of support and getting your copy of the DVD. For that $75 pledge, you can obtain one of those DVDs, and for a $120 pledge, you can take two home with your pledge tonight by calling 1-800-245-9779. And again, you don't want to miss the adorable dancing pygmy goats coming up live right here on WPSU. Pat?
1-800-245-9779 is the number you call. Make that call now, and one of our great volunteers who worked on the show or who is here to help us tonight just with the phones will walk you through the process. I swear, it is the easiest, most rewarding transaction you will have made all day. It takes about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes tops, to go through, make your contribution, get a copy of the show. If you make a gift of just $75, we'll be happy to share that program DVD with you. That does include bonus material that we're not able to broadcast tonight. Or make a gift of $120, and we'll give you 2 copies of the show. Keep one for yourself, share one with friends. Hey, here's always a good time. Consider, if you're getting 2 copies, maybe you want to give one to the local public library so they have it, or you want to give it to the local elementary or junior or secondary school, junior high school or senior high school, so they have copies in their library as well for Pennsylvania history class or local history class. Any way that you want to do your gift with us is fine, but please take a moment, make that call now at 1-800-245-9779, as did Bobby, Jerry, Thad, and Brady Albright from Martinsburg. Also would like to thank Dan and Mary Hirschberger of Martinsburg. Would like to thank, there it is, Gary Kegarise, I'm sorry, I might have mispronounced that, from Pine Grove Mills, Pennsylvania. Thank you so much, Gary, for your contribution. A lot of people that we've heard from in this first break. It's been a very productive first break. It's been a very fun introduction to what I think you're going to love as a whole show. But do your part, help this station continue to make programs like this on the local level with your support right now at 1-800-245-9779. Support your local public broadcaster, and hey, support your community and a great group of storytellers as well. Jessica.
I mentioned earlier I had the great fortune of being able to go to the Cove and talk to businesses for underwriting support. And if you were here for the very beginning of the show, you saw a lot of businesses and folks that support the program. And people said, wow, there's a lot of underwriting support on the show. And what I would say was, you know what? This community is so giving and is so generous. Really, all it would be a meeting with one person one time, and they'd say, absolutely, we'd love to support. That's a story that you heard over and over coming from the residents of the Cove, from the communities within the Cove. It was just so great to be able to go in and work with these people. Some of the best folks that I've worked with, and I've worked on several of these shows as a producer. This is my first one as an underwriting representative, but it's been great. And I just wanted to thank all of the businesses that are supporting the program tonight. Like you said, some of them are here answering phones tonight. We have Alan Bosler here answering phones. We have Heidi Kreider here answering phones. We have, I'm gonna leave people out, I'm afraid, but we have all these great folks and we just wanna thank them. And actually we have another person who helped with underwriting here to thank, who also made a gift, Craig and Mo Carlson. Craig, of course, with the Morrison's Cove Rotary, and who we also got some great overlook shots from his home that you'll see in the program. Thank you so much for your gift tonight. Thank you to an anonymous gift from Roaring Spring. You know who you are, thanks so much. And thanks to Dean and Mary Lou Heinisch of Martinsburg. Thanks for your support. Won't you be the next one to give us a call? Phone lines are open now at 1-800-245-9779. Carolyn?
We're going to get back to more of the programming, and we know you want to be quiet during that. We've just got a couple of minutes left to make those phones ring right now, and we want to thank some more folks right now from the Cove and beyond community. Randy from Penn Creek, that's how we wanted to be thanked, and we thank you, Randy, from Penn Creek. We know that's Roaring Spring. Thank you so much. And John and Brenda Heil from Hollidaysburg. Now, I'm actually a Hollidaysburg resident, but I always drive out to the Cove to go to Mamie's and to get my flowers and my vegetables and my fruits, and you know how that is. So join us in that support by pledging to OurTown the Cove. We thank Dave Chilcote, who is in New Enterprise. Dave, we know that name too, a very familiar name. You see a lot of names that are repeated. Anonymous donor also calling in from Hollidaysburg. Rose Kramer calling a pledge in tonight from Duncansville. Thank you so much, Rose. And Barbara Greenleaf, who is making a pledge. It's actually Barb and Bob Greenleaf from Martinsburg calling in tonight. And then we have an online pledge that we want to make sure we also thank our friend Wendy Engelberg from Roaring Spring. She's a teacher at the Spring Cove Middle School. We love WPSU. Go Dragons! That's right, the Central Dragons are in full force. You're going to see a story coming up about the wonderful musical program that's a part of the Central High School and the Roaring Spring School District. Coming up, though, you're going to hear about pygmy goats and award-winning cows. Don't go away. We've got so much more to show you as part of OurTown the Cove. But make those phone rings now at 1-800-245-9779. Pat?
Okay, they're going to give me a time signal here in just a second. I think we're right around, what, 2 minutes to go or one? Okay, 1 minute to go before we're back into the show. So if you didn't get a chance to make your call yet, you can still sneak one in. On the other hand, if you want to wait, well, that's fine too. We'll be back shortly. We'll have a lot more stories under your belt by then. The number to call will always be the same all night long, 1-800-245-9779. A big thank you to Barry Malott of Altoona, Pennsylvania, who made his gift earlier through by calling one of our volunteers. Jim Hartman of Duncanville, thank you so much for your support. I'd like to thank Patty McGraw of Martinsburg. Thank you so much for your gift tonight. And I'd like to thank an anonymous contributor from Martinsburg. Thank you for going to the phone, working with one of our volunteers, and making your gift tonight in support of this great show and in support of your public television station. A little bit of interesting trivia for you here right now. We have volunteers here. We do the national food of public broadcasting everywhere. We feed them pizza. That's right. The P in PBS stands for pizza. Tonight, our pizza comes from, of all places, the Cove in State College, Pennsylvania. The Cove, New York-style pizzeria. So a big shout out to the Cove for their help tonight in feeding all our volunteers and making sure that everybody got a chance to have a little snack. The number to call, 1-800-245-9779. You can, of course, also make your gift online at wpsu.org. Hit that donate button and use our safe and secure server to make your gift. Now, back to the show. Enjoy all that is OurTown the Cove.
You can also make your contribution at wpsu.org. Click on Donate at the top of the page. It's always available and easy to use. Thanks.
My name is Rachel Sheeter, and I'm here to talk about my pygmy goat herd, RS Farms Pygmy Goats. We are the first farm in Blair County with registered pygmy goats. We raise, sell, and show them. It all got started when I went out to veterinary technician school. I've always loved animals, and when I moved back, we wanted to get some animals. We decided to go with the goats rather than sheep. The breed of goat that I chose was the pygmy goat. Pygmy goat is a compact, dual-purpose goat. It is more towards the meat goat variety as far as its structure and its build. It is a smaller breed of goat, so it's easier for smaller people to handle. I researched them out in school, and I found that was my best breed, like the best animal that I want, that fit my personality. When you walk up to a herd of sheep, they all run. Goats, I walk out there, they're right there at you. RS Farms Leroy Jones is my first goat that I ever kept. We're like, we need a redneck name. So we thought, that's a pretty redneck name. Right now we have the nuts going. We have almond joy, peanut brittle, pistachio pudding, pecan pie, and walnut sundae. I had to go to Ohio to find my first registered pygmy goats. A few of mine came from California. We have to travel quite a ways to show them, and we do have a 3-time grand champion buck in our herds. We're very proud of him. A roly-poly pygmy, something wicked. So he just needs one more win, and he will become a permanent grand champion. I love my goats. The goats are like my kids. I'm at 55. And that's including all the babies, though, that were born. We just had 13 babies born, so not all of those will stay. I've sold goats to Connecticut. I've sold goats to Indiana State. I have a lady coming from Florida for goats. They're always like, what can we do when we come to the Cove? And I always send them to like the local places. I'm like, gotta go try Richie's ice cream. You gotta go to like Charlotte's Trove. You have to go to Mamie's. I send them to all the places that are just local here, and so that helps them with the business too. It is fun. I enjoy it.
My name is Alan Bosler. I'm the co-owner and publisher of the Morrison's Cove Herald, the Cove's newspaper, and I'm here today to talk about the Bosler Bell and my great-great-grandfather. His name was Malachi Zook Bosler, which was the name I wish I had. I love that name. He started it as the editor of the Herald in 1903 and was editor until his sudden death in 1917. He was well respected in the community, and he was relatively young. He was 52 when he died. His obituary said he died at home, but the family lore is that he died at his desk, which of course now the joke is I'm trying to avoid that fate. There was a college that wanted to establish itself in Morrison's Cove, and he had started a fund drive to buy a bell. That was in 1916. The community was so shocked by his death that they then decided to name the bell after him, and they also named a street in Martinsburg after him. It currently now is in a little housing that they built for it. It's right outside the front door of the Spring Cove High School, and it doesn't have a clapper. It won't ring. Malachi had a son who had a son who had a son who had me. I got a call from the previous owner, Dave Snyder of Loisburg. Dave, just out of the blue, called me and said, would you like to buy the Morrison's Cove Herald? My first reaction was, no, I'm perfectly happy, and everything's going great, and no. But then I thought, truly, it was like I was driving home, and I thought, now, how many times in your life does that happen to you, that someone calls and said, would you like to buy the community newspaper that your great-great-grandfather ran? The paper is now back in the Bosler family. The Morrison's Cove Herald is a weekly newspaper. We publish on Thursdays and has a circulation of about 5,000. It's not just a business for me and my family. It's like I'm taking care of it. It's extremely important to the Cove. If the Morrison's Cove Herald didn't exist, there really would be no news source other than the rumor mill. But the other really important part, I think, is that it tells people what's going on in their communities. We cover 4 school districts, a number of municipalities. If you find a potato in your garden that looks like Abraham Lincoln, we will take a picture of it and put it in the Herald. The Herald's been around since 1885, so it's definitely an integral part of the community, has been for a long time, and my job is to make sure it continues to be. My wife and I live in Altoona. I believe that the Morrison's Cove is a special place on the planet, and I kind of feel a pull to come back here. So to me, I've just been away for a while. I grew up in Curryville, and I'm coming back. It's just a matter of when I can make the arrangements.
Hi, my name is Nancy Lucas, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about Homewood at Martinsburg. My husband and I moved to Homewood at Martinsburg about 10 years ago and moved into a lovely cottage. It was a wonderful decision for us. We met wonderful friends. It's a lovely campus. There are many things to do. The amenities are wonderful. Anything from bocce to a beautiful indoor pool, game night, bingo, and movies. We have a lovely library, at least 5,000 volumes in the library. And of course, getting together for dinners is a big one for all of us. It just was a really good fit for us. Homewood has a lot of history, and I was able to speak to Lisa Deffabaugh, our new executive director, about it.
In the early 1960s, a man named Reverend Givler, the United Church of Christ minister, stood on the hill overlooking the 23-acre farm that's now Homewood, and he saw cottages and a healthcare center. Homewood has really grown and developed since they moved the first resident in 1974. He would be very surprised today to see what we've blossomed into. People move here to have a sense of security that no matter what happens through the stages of their life, that they'll have support. They celebrate life together. They celebrate the ups and the downs together. They're here for each other in the good times and the bad.
Even though everyone is there for a slightly different reason, everybody is sort of in the same boat, so we all can understand each other very well. You make friends rather easily, and close friends, and that's been wonderful for me. I've really enjoyed it. I'm actually from Altoona. I didn't know much about the Cove, and every day when I drive from Cove Lane across Cove Road and that vista opens up, it is the most beautiful scenery that you could ever see. Love it.
I'm Russell Hoover. I am the great-nephew of Ivan Garver, who was the originator of the Garver Memorial YMCA. Ivan Garver took a keen interest clear back in 1933. The local schools had started a Tri-Y High, which was kind of a predecessor of the YMCA. He thought, you know, that might be something good I could leave as a memory of my parents. And so in his will, he left a provision to begin a YMCA in Roaring Spring, and he wanted to name it after his parents. So upon his death in 1953, there were people like my father and other community members who formed the first board. And in 1957, the Dr. and Mrs. A.L. Garver YMCA was formed. They started with a teen center. Then the Lions Club built the Little League field and a recreational park right beside the YMCA. When I was growing up, the biggest parts were the Little League field programs I benefited from. Over in the recreational park, there was a lot of get-togethers. It's grown through the years now. The biggest part of the Y was built in 1987. They finally built a gym, a racquetball court, meeting rooms. It's a viable part of the community and was all the brainchild of Ivan Garver back in 1933. He was really keen on making this something that would help the community. There's nothing like rural America. There's nothing like the Cove. I've lived in a few other towns outside of Roaring Spring, and it's the best place in the world to live. It's best kept secret, I've always said. We enjoy, my wife and I enjoy it immensely.
Hi, I'm Rod Feather, director of the Garver Memorial YMCA, here to talk about the youth programming and the adult programming at the YMCA. Our first start at the Y with the kids is usually our preschool program. It gets them an early education start, a readiness program to kindergarten. They get a chance to socialize with other kids for the first time and meet meet the instructors, and learn all the different aspects, the cognitive skills of the preschool program.
Good morning, preschool friends. How are you? Good.
Kids can get involved with baseball, basketball, gymnastics, soccer, just about any youth sports program that comes along. It's a safe place for them, place for them to recreate, socialize, meet other kids. The kids start at a real early age in those youth sports programs, usually around the age of 5. It's fun to see them get excited to, become a team member and learn to play with other kids, and just to see them develop their skills. It's just amazing to see what they can do. Before 2000, silver sneakers came into the Y. This program in particular got them a membership to the Y through their health insurance coverage. They were able to utilize the Y like any other member, and they're able to participate in these group fitness classes. It developed them more flexibility, more balance, more control. They just felt better about themselves, and then they were able then to go up into the weight room. They now feel that they're a part of the Y, and it's great to see that, and they get up and just socialize with the younger people and people of their own age, and just a unique presence. It's a great community. The people are tight-knit here, but yet they're giving. If there's a child that can't afford it, there's businesses and individuals out there that are giving to get them a membership to the Y. They like to see kids have a place to go. It's nice to see that community support.
My name is Steve Mowry, and I'm here to talk about the Morrison's Cove Agriculture Parade and also World Record Cow. The parade we started 35 years ago. We honor agriculture in each parade, and it's always the Tuesday closest to July 4th. Each year we select a local farmer or agribusiness to be featured in the parade as an honoree. We also have a grand marshal from the community. The parade has more than agriculture. Well, we have a lot of agriculture, tractors and so forth. People say they've never seen so many different kinds of tractors and farm equipment before. Also, we have great participation from the local bands, marching groups, fire companies, businesses, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. A lot of people participate in the parade. I'll get phone calls January, February from people, well, what day is the parade this year? We're planning our vacation and we don't want to miss it. There's something there for everyone to enjoy. Her name was Mowry Prince Corrine. That was her registered name. She was affectionately known as Wren around the barn. We knew from previous years that she was a pretty good cow. Back in 1974, she just went all out. She ended up breaking the world's record for milk production. The previous world record was 44,000 pounds of milk. Wren produced a little over 50,000 pounds of milk, almost 8,000 gallons of milk in 1 year. It also translates to a full tanker load of milk. We had a celebration on the farm. We invited people in to see the cow. It felt great to have people come to see Corrine and the rest of the herd. My dad kept track of the visitors that came. I think it was around 8,000 to 9,000 visitors we had, people just stopping in to look at the cow. You know, you have to stop what you're doing, and it got to the point where a car would pull in, everyone would hide. The last man standing got to give the tour. The day her record was beaten, she died. I don't know, she couldn't stand to lose, I guess. My grandfather moved into Morrison's Cove back in, I think it was 1912. And around 1921, he purchased the farm. My dad was a big promoter in the dairy industry. There's 3 generations has been on that farm. I don't know, it's just home. I enjoy going away, but it always feels good to get back to the Cove.
Hi, I'm Tom Kunkel, Director of the Cove Community Chorus, and I'm here today to tell you a little bit about what we do. Well, we actually started about 5 years ago. I saw an article in the paper that Roaring Spring was going to have a celebration of their 125th anniversary. So I talked to my wife and I said, why don't we start a community chorus here to do a concert just for that celebration? This was my third community chorus in my career, and it was just to be for that celebration, but it turned out that we stayed together. When we did the first concert, we had about 55 people, I believe. And they all said, this is a lot of fun. Can we keep doing this? So we decided to keep doing it. And it just grew. And we actually have people from out of the Cove singing. There's no geographic, we don't hold anything against that from anywhere. We have people from Altoona, there are people in Bellwood, Williamsburg, all over the place who come and sing with us. Anybody can be in our chorus. We have no auditions. The only age requirement I have is if young people want to be in, I make sure they can sing well enough to be with us. We currently have an 11-year-old, and our oldest is 88, so we go the whole gamut. And with no auditions, whoever shows up sings. My dad was an amazing guy. I lost him when I was 12 years old, so I don't have a ton of memories of him, but he was a showman, and he was so good. So my dad started doing benefit shows for the Cancer Society, and he would pick up amateur talent, young kids that had any kind of talent. I was the oldest in the family, so he started me out with a hat and cane, and I was in the show. Eventually, my two younger brothers and the three of us sang, and that's really where I got my start. In my mind, I think what we have done is, I think we've provided an outlet for people who just want to have fun and sing, and we've also provided some good, wholesome family entertainment for the community, because we sell out most of our concerts, and they respond very well. And I have people all the time, what's in your next show, what's going on? I mean, it's become a thing out here. It's pretty amazing. My wife and I moved to the Cove about 12 years ago. We just found the people are so friendly. They're willing to do anything for you, very helpful. It's a totally different atmosphere out here. I don't know, it's just very homey. You know, it's beautiful scenery out here. I mean, it's beautiful country, and we just love living in the Cove. It's great.
We'll be right back with stories about airmail in the 1930s, how one man built a band program over 40 years, and where to go in the Cove for the best coffee and pastries. But first, please show your support for the Cove and WPSU by making a pledge. Thanks.
Oh, welcome back. We're so glad you're joining us tonight here on WPSU. Our Town, the Cove, is premiering tonight, and we have our Covites here on the phone, Meg, ready to hear from you. These are members of our community who have given up. There are storytellers, too. A lot of the folks that you see here, you might have already seen their story, and right now they're waiting to hear from you by picking up the phone and making that pledge of support and calling us at the number you see on your screen, 1-800-245-9779. Let me tell you what you'll get. Oh, thank you. The phones are already ringing. I want to start off by saying that in the last break, we had a pledge from our friends at Homewood, and we're very happy to report that match was met. And so we can't give you a grand total yet, but we know that we matched 1-for-1 for the $1,000. So thank you very much. And now we've got more donations, we hope, calling in on the pledge here as more stories are told from the Cove. We've got Dawn and Richard Hoover from Altoona. You don't have to be from the Cove to make a pledge tonight. They know and appreciate the stories that are being told here on WPSU. Jordan and Colby Gomerchak from Roaring Spring. They have to be our youngest donors tonight. And Dad Chuck, right there he is. He's already busy on a phone call, but he took their pledge. Our 6- and 7-year-old donors here, they know Dad, Chuck used to work and live in Johnstown, went to Juniata College, and then lived in Blair County and has moved out to the Cove and running the Morrison's Cove Memorial Park. You'll get to hear that story coming up. But right now, while we're at the time and we're taking a break from the program, we'd love to hear from you. And we'd love to hear your story. So if you call one of our friends who are on these phone banks tonight, let us know where you're from and maybe your connection. And we'd love to connect people by this and maybe even offer some pledges between Roaring Spring and Martinsburg, or maybe those international people that are streaming us right now and watching us that used to be in the Cove and now are coming and to the screen to be able to hear more stories from your neighbors and ours. If you feel a little more comfortable, you can also go online at wpsu.org. But we'd love to get our phone bank volunteers who've spent their evening here, get those phones ringing, 1-800-245-9779. And now I want to turn it over to the guy who took those stories from you and put them all together. He made the magic, Mr. Bill Wallace.
I appreciate the compliment. Thank you very much, Carolyn. This is a really, really good show. I've been working on this show almost full-time at the station for about 5 years. Was in at the very beginning when we started doing this program over 20 years ago. This is the 91st version of Our Town. And I got to say, this one was a joy. They're all work, but as I said to somebody earlier this evening, this is definitely a labor of love around here. I love being able to take the stories that people want to come in and tell us and turn them into something that they are proud of. I have spent a long time in television and a long time behind the camera instead of in front of it. I understand now how hard it is to sit down in that chair and try and explain what you'd like to say in a way you'd like to say it, and then trust that somebody else is going to turn it into something that you're happy with later. I think these folks should be very proud of what they've accomplished this evening. And from the sounds of the way things went during the first break, I think most of you agree. I hope that by the time you're done watching the show, you feel that we've done a great job with it too. And I'd like to thank some people who have called in already to let us know that we're doing a good job and they'd like to see programming like this continue. Joe Keith from Roaring Spring called in with a pledge. Deb and Paul Hetrick from Hollidaysburg called in. Katie Lauricella, and I'm glad somebody helped me with that pronunciation, from Martinsburg called in, and we thank you for that. And Vonnie Quirin from East Freedom, along with Stephen Metzger from Roaring Spring. We greatly appreciate the pledge of support and the vote of support. And I'm going to throw it back over to Jess so that she can thank a few more people.
Absolutely. I have a nice stack of folks here to thank. I think some of these folks may have called during the first break. So if you're waiting to hear your name, hopefully I'm reading it right now for you. Thanks to Clyde Black of Hollidaysburg. Thanks for your gift of support this evening. Here's one from Columbia, South Carolina. Thanks to Dan, Mary, Andrew, Kate, and Anna Hoover. Thank you so much for watching on wpsu.org/live. If you have friends or family who live out of town, who maybe you think would enjoy the show, let them know they can watch online. Thanks also to John and Jolene Hoover of Martinsburg. They say, keep up the good work. They love living in the Cove. Thank you so much for your call and for your pledge online, on wpsu.org, as well as your great comment. And thanks to Tom and Diane Sherbach, I believe is how you pronounce that, from Hollidaysburg. We have how many phones open? 2, 4, 5. We have about 6 phones open. So right now is the time to call 1-800-245-9779. As a reminder, at the $75 level, you can receive a copy of tonight's program, Our Town, The Cove. Or if you can step up and make that generous gift of $120, we would love to send you 2 copies of the program. But the choice is yours. Just make sure you call in tonight, support the Cove, support your public television station at 1-800-245-9779. Carolyn?
You know, Jess, these kind of stories that we're telling tonight are the stories you really can't find anywhere else. This is what public media does best, is to take stories from our local communities and tell them to you out there. And again, they're your stories. The folks behind us here, we're the ones that were shooting them and telling their stories. So it's a collection of what they wanted to show as part of being their town, the Cove. And the Coveites that are represented here on our phone bank, that are represented in our stories, that are calling in right now, you can see that sense of pride and community spirit. And that's exactly what we're trying to embody. And that's part of what public media is all about. And so by helping us, again, further that mission is by making that phone call tonight and making that pledge of support and being a member of our public media family. Again, for the $75 pledge, if you're able to come to that level, we have for you that 1 DVD of our great Our Cove, Our Town, the Cove DVD with some extra bonus material. It was such many stories we couldn't even fit them into the show, so you'll get to see that. And if you need 2 copies, or you can step it up a little bit, $120 pledge. And as a new bonus, we have what's called the Passport for any member who joins us tonight at a $60 level or above. We have a new feature, a new app that'll be emailed to you, and you can sign up and have great PBS programming at your fingertips on whatever device you tend to watch us on. And again, for those streaming right now at wpsu.org/live, we thank you for calling in and being a part of our live experience here. And we want to thank Walter and Linda Piper from Cabbage Creek and Roaring Spring. Thank you very much. It's Walter and Linda from Roaring Spring, an anonymous donor calling in from Martinsburg with their pledge of support, and Dawn and Richard Hoover from Altoona. And we want to mention that Hoover name because you've probably heard some of the stories tonight already that have focused, and there's more stories from many members of the Hoover family. That's a big name out in the Cove. 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call. And again, we've got some phones still open. We'd love for those phones to keep ringing. We're only going to keep you for a few more minutes here, and then we'll get back into our great programming of our stories. But in the meantime, please think about making that pledge of support. Think about supporting local television, local media. It's your station. You belong as a member family, and we'd love to welcome you at 1-800-245-9779. Bill?
Folks, it's a little quiet in here right now compared to what it was during the first break. And I realize it's a little hard to follow up on something that was as exciting and as exhausting as the first break. But we've all had a chance to catch our breath, and it's time to start making some phone calls again. It would be really, really good if everybody could go back to the phones and let us know that they appreciate the programming that we're going to go back to in a couple of minutes. I'd like to thank a few people to start with, and then I'm going to give you a couple of indications of perhaps what you'll be able to see in the next block. Rachel Sheeter called in from East Freedom. She is the owner of RS Farms Pygmy Goats, and the lady who came in to deliver us the most incredible pictures that I've had a chance to cut in a long, long time. There was nothing more adorable than that story. Michael Rogers from Roaring Spring called in with a pledge. Charlene Dodson from Roaring Spring, who is answering phones back here, took time out from her busy evening to send us a pledge of support. And Jeannie Bulger, or Bulger, I believe it's Bulger. Bulger?
Yeah, beautiful song. Beautiful song.
Very good. From Martinsburg. The handwriting can use some improvements occasionally. Called in with a pledge, and as you can tell from Carolyn, she is a well-known individual down in the Cove. We're going to be going back to the program in a minute, and I wanted to give you a couple of ideas of what you might see in the next one. We're going to be doing a story about the incredible bronze sculpture that sits out in front of the Spring Cove Elementary School and the story behind that. We're going to do a couple of stories involving some various veterans organizations in the area and the things they are doing to help veterans and help the youth in the community. And, oh, wait a minute, I'm reading the wrong block. I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. All right, sorry, we'll get to that in a minute. Actually, we have a story on the Altoona-Blair County Airport coming up, and a story on NPC printing, and the high school music program as seen through the eyes of a high schooler, which is a really, really interesting perspective. And the infamous Mamie's Café will be featured. And as Pat says, any place called Mamie's is definitely a good place, but I will tell you that the baked goods are out of this world. So, in a few minutes, we'll be going back, but until then, we have some more people to thank. Jess?
Absolutely. Thanks so much to J. William Bowser, who is here in studio with us this evening. He says, say hi to Beverly Eversole in Texas. Hi, Beverly, watching us online at wpsu.org. Oh, here's another one. Deanna Johnson Hess of St. Paul, Minnesota, and she says, yes, Minnesota, also watching us online at wpsu.org. And a little bit closer to home, thanks to George and Donna Kensinger of Martinsburg. It looks like we have two phones open right now. Give us a call, 1-800-245-9779. Probably hear my voice a little bit scratchy this evening. You know, those spring allergies and all of that jazz. I'm so excited about this show, though. I don't care that my voice is scratchy. I'm just excited to be talking with you this evening about great local programming. 1-800-245-9779 is the number that you can call if this is a program that means a lot to you, a lot to your community. Show your support right now. Carolyn?
That's right, and you can keep a permanent copy of this wonderful storytelling done by our great bank of volunteers and the folks that didn't join us but are calling in pledges of support. And I do want to mention coming up in the next segment, we do have the great story about Duke Life Point Nason Hospital, and our CEO, there he is right there, new CEO, Tim Harklerode. He's a recent Covite. He has been on board for about a year and a half, and our friends at Duke Life Point Nason Hospital, we thank you so much for not only being a sponsor, he's done a story, and he's come to pledge his support along with some of his friends there. We've got Susan King calling in from Duncansville. It's Brian and Susan King from Roaring Spring who actually are making the pledge. Thank you so much. We've got Ron and Judy Refner from Roaring Spring calling in their pledge. And then that last segment, remember the world record-breaking cow? Okay, we just had that story, of course. Our friend Mr. Mowry brought us that story. Well, Dan, Susie, and Grace Dainty, where the world record cow was in her family cow, and she is the little girl that was pictured there in the picture. She called in her pledge of support and is extremely proud, and we are too, to be able to share that story with all the folks. I was kind of amazed by how much milk that cow produced over the course of that cow's life, and then the family and the embracing and the tours of people that came through to see that cow with some of those great pictures. And that's what storytelling does at its best. It takes those pictures and those stories and video and collects them from our storytellers, the people who know the Cove community best, and that's you out there. So right now, to keep that permanent copy, we'd love to hear from you by picking up the phone. Let's see, we do have a line open or two, and we've got Tammy Deffenbaugh from the credit union and some other folks there that want to make sure that your pledge is recorded at 1-800-245-9779. Please make your pledge of support right now. We've got still much more of the program to show you tonight, and then you can have it forever and share with those stories, maybe in your own family, or if you're not even a Covite, you learn so much about the community and how you can be involved. So that's a $75 pledge for your membership and enjoyment of the Cove and the OurTown stories. And then you're a member of our family at WPSU. And we'll continue to bless you with program guides and all sorts of information about the great quality programming that we bring you on WPSU TV. 1-800-245-9779. Let's keep those phones ringing and those bells ringing as well, because when the bell rings, that means somebody has called in their pledge of support right here. Bill?
It occurred to me a couple of minutes ago, I haven't read the phone number yet, so I will make up for lost time. 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call, and we would love it if you would call us and give us a pledge of your support for doing the programming that we are doing, particularly this kind of programming tonight where we go out in the community and we give people the opportunity to tell the stories that they would like to tell. And then we put it on the air. And in most cases, they really like it. And in most cases, you guys out there really like it too. And by really liking it, you show your support for it by calling us at 1-800-245-9779 with a pledge of support so we can go back out and do this all over again somewhere else. I'd like to thank a couple of people who have called in with pledges this evening. Kay Rinker from Duncansville called in. John and Marcia Biddle from Roaring Spring. Luke Nicely from East Freedom. And Mark Barnhart from Duncansville. And this one's special to me. Mike McGuire called in from Crescent. Mike was a volunteer on the Crescent program that we did a year ago, actually, I think at this time. And this proves to me that Mike is not just a fan of Crescent, but he's a fan of OurTown. And there's a lot of you out there who watch these programs because you want to learn about the places that are close to where you live. I have a friend who tells me every time she sees one of these programs, she wants to go out and visit the place after it's all over. And that's kind of what we're giving these people an opportunity to do, is tell you why their town is great enough that you might want to stop by and check it out. So call us, please, at 1-800-245-9779. And if you do that, with a pledge of $75, we'll be happy to send you a copy of the show tonight, which includes all of the stories that you've seen and some really cool bonus features. Sometimes we don't have a chance to put bonus features together for these programs. Sometimes we don't have enough material to put them together. In this case, one of the features is we got access to a chunk of the 75th anniversary 50th anniversary of Roaring Spring. They came in, brought a crew in for like 3-4 days, covered a parade that they had that had, I think, every living soul in Blair County in it. And it's just some really cool historical pictures. It's just a really, really nice little feature to watch. And the only way you'll be able to see it is by buying a copy of the program this evening for a $75 pledge of support. And if you call in with a pledge of $120, we'll send you 2. So you can keep one and you can give one to a friend. You can send it to the library. You can send a copy to the Historical Society. You can give it to anybody that you think might be able to do some good with it, or you can keep another one around just in case. But we'd really, really like to hear from you. We have a couple of open phones right now. It'd be really good if you'd call us and let us know that you support the program. Jess.
Oh, I heard, it's only not quite 9:30. I heard a rumor that you people in the Cove like to stay up and party and have a little bit of fun. We're having a party in here in the studio this evening. We would love to hear from you next at 1-800-245-9779. Join in on the excitement that we're feeling here in the studio. We're celebrating the great residents and the stories of the Cove. You know, I am from Central PA. I'm from outside of Bellefonte. And I, in my entire life, had never been to the Cove. And now I'm telling my husband, kind of what Bill said. I'm like, oh my gosh, my kids would love to go on the train excursion. And I've got to take them to Richie's for a milkshake because I stopped there a couple of times on my visits into town. And I have to show them that. We have to go to the park. We have to do all of these things. That's the great thing about our towns is that, you know, I wouldn't maybe have ventured south to visit our friends in the Cove. Now I'm so glad I know about it, and it's a great secret that you're sharing with our whole coverage area. So thanks so much, Cove. Show your support for programs like this, though, by giving us a call at 1-800-245-9779. Coming up, we have stories from the Altoona Blair Airport. Tracy Plessinger is awesome there. We had our screening for our volunteers. They're also an underwriter of the program. We have NPC Printing. I believe we heard from the family of that owns NPC. Thank you so much for your support and for being an underwriter of the program. We also would like to thank you when you call in. So thanks to Charles and Jacqueline Bice of Saxonburg. Thanks so much for your gift of support. Won't you be the next one to give us a call at 1-800-245-9779. Carolyn?
Russell Hoover from Roaring Spring making his donation. Russell and Anita, we thank you so much. They told that story about the Roaring Spring YMCA. Now we've got one here. Bill and Corey from Portland, Oregon, streaming and watching us, and perhaps they've got some connection to the Cove, and we appreciate their pledge of support. William Yingling from Martinsburg, in honor of Don, Tina, and Nancy Yingling. Thank you so much. And Fred and Shirley Kensinger. Kensinger, another big name out in the Cove in Roaring Spring. Thank you for calling in your pledge of support. Keep those phones ringing, 1-800-245-9779, or go online at wpsu.org. And we'll be back with more stories coming up and another look at your town, the Cove.
You can also make your contribution at wpsu.org. Click on Donate at the top of the page. It's always available and easy to use. Thanks.
My name is Tracy Plessinger, and I'm the manager of the Altoona Blair County Airport. In the 1930s, the airport began as an airmail stop. In 1937, there was a company formed called All American Aviation, and that company, which actually the DuPont family was involved with ultimately, set up airmail routes throughout the Allegheny Mountains, throughout the Ohio Valley. Martinsburg and the Cove became one of those airmail stops. Apparently then, the big thing was to mail a letter to yourself from Martinsburg. It would be picked up by airmail, and it would go to wherever and then come back, and you had this letter postmarked with all these exotic places that came back, but started out at Martinsburg as airmail. Eventually, there was a need for passenger service, and the All American Aviation Company became All American Airways.
And in 1949, they started offering not just airmail service from Martinsburg and rural airports throughout Pennsylvania, but also they began offering passenger service. That passenger service was not just at the Altoona Airport at Martinsburg, but it was throughout central Pennsylvania and the Ohio Valley. So that air passenger service really started to connect the rural communities of the Allegheny Mountains to the major cities. All-American Airlines eventually in 1953 became the Allegheny Air System. That Allegheny Air System then later on in 1979 became U.S. Air. In 1996 it became U.S. Airways. All of that history goes all the way back to the 30s and 40s, and the Altoona Blair County Airport at Martinsburg was an integral part of all of that coming up through the years. Today, we continue that. The current airline that flies from the Altoona Blair County Airport is Southern Airways Express, and that airline flies from the Altoona Airport to Pittsburgh and Baltimore, rebuilding that old Allegheny Air System. Those small towns that were served originally by All-American Airways and Allegheny Airlines are still today being served in much the same way and providing access for people in the rural communities to major city airports where they can travel throughout the world. It's very gratifying. It's nothing like it was back in the days of Allegheny Air System, but it still provides the same basic service. And I think the people that were involved with the, picking up the airmail bags in 1938 would have no idea what it would become today, what the airport does today and the things that we offer today.
Hi, I'm Chuck Gomerak, and I'm the Park and Recreation Director for Morrison's Cove Memorial Park in Martinsburg, Pennsylvania. The park is a 14-acre family recreation complex. The park was actually formed on June 1st of 1922. It was deeded from the Snyder family. It was deeded to all the residents of Morrison's Cove. We are a tax-deductible entity, and we are not funded directly by any government resources. We have just about something for everybody. We have an indoor bowling alley, a multi-purpose gym, the only roller skating rink in Blair County, 8 pavilions for rent on our campus. We also have an outdoor swimming pool. We also have a baseball field, tennis courts, and outdoor basketball area. 80% of our revenue comes from clients using our services and paying a fee to bowl or to skate. About 20% of our budget comes from community donations, either at Christmas time or during our annual fund campaign. We also have 3 entities that rent space off of us in our basement: the Martinsburg Community Library, Head Start, and the local IU8 both have a classroom in our basement area. For many, many years, the park was in financial disarray. I was hired in January of 15. For the last 14 months, we were actually in the black. And with the revenue that we were able to earn on our programs, we actually put assets back into the park. And when people from outside the area come in, they're kind of impressed that this town of one stoplight has this type of family recreation complex that's available to our entire Cove community. People from the area, they call themselves Covites. Once people know you within this community, I have never been in a more caring, respectful, God-fearing, generous, honest community in my life. I have truly been blessed to have the opportunity to be the director for the Morrison's Cove Memorial Park.
Hi, my name is Tim Harkle-Rode. I'm the CEO at Nason Hospital in Roaring Spring, and I'm here to tell you about what a gem that hospital is to the Morrison Cove area. It's been a vital part of the community. Going back to 1900, founded by Dr. Albert Nason, in 1961 moved to its current location out here on Nason Drive. We have a very loyal community that's very supportive of the hospital. Extremely loyal medical staff that is very supportive of the hospital, wants to see it grow, wants to see it do well. The auxiliary, which in a lot of hospitals around the country are really starting to fade away, is thriving in our facility. And so that volunteerism, that auxiliary really is what sort of sets us apart, I think, in a community like this. Really a blue-collar community and a blue-collar hospital. So really a perfect match for one another. So many hospitals over the last 10 or 15 years around the country, small hospitals in particular in rural areas, have begun to close. It's very important to have a hospital in a community. We employ over 300 people. We're very fortunate to have a partner that allows us to do that. So in 2015, LifePoint Health purchased Nason Hospital to become part of the Conemaugh Health System, which is also owned by Duke LifePoint. We don't treat our patients any differently now than what we did before. We still see the same patients, we still provide the same care, and in a lot of cases, additional services that we didn't provide before. The key difference in what we do now and what we did prior to 2015 is now that we're owned by a for-profit hospital company, we pay taxes to the community. Even if you're not coming there for health care, please come by and wander the halls. You know, in 2005, we did a capital campaign and raised some money to do this, and a couple local artists painted murals of a lot of the historical landmarks in the Cove area, and they're all over the walls of the hospital, and they are amazing. It's beautiful, and if you haven't seen it, you really need to come out and check it out. The mission of LifePoint is now the mission of Nason Hospital, which is making communities healthier. All of our hospitals are in rural communities, and that's what we do well, and that's what I prefer to do. I grew up in a rural community in West Virginia, very similar to this area. The employees at the hospital are so, down to earth and easy to talk to. It's almost identical to where I grew up, and it's almost identical to every LifePoint community where we have a hospital.
Hello, my name is Betsy Garrick, and I'm here today to tell you a story about Nason Foundation. Nason Hospital became a hospital in 1900. This beautiful park hotel was created around 1890 in Roaring Spring, but it didn't make it as a hotel. A Dr. Albert Nason came in, and in 1900 it became a very vital hospital. The hospital tried to promote good health beyond just coming in when you're sick. Somewhere around 1959, they decided they had to build a new and better hospital on the east side of Roaring Spring. When they built a new hospital, they thought, we need to have a group of people that will look after the brick and mortar and the community at large. I believe between 2001 and 2012, we gave out 34 nursing scholarships. We also give out service awards to all of the high schools every year. We were very, very fortunate that we connected with Duke LifePoint in July of 2015. We had to reform into this new group. So the foundation was formed at that point from not only board members, but other community folks. Our mission now, being our own organization, is to support the health and vitality of the Cove by our resources and education. People care. This is such a unique, warm, wonderful community. But we're still rural, we're still small. It's a wonderful thing to have an organization with some financial backing, whether it's just a small nonprofit that needs some support or an individual that may have a health concern that we can support. And I think that that's a wonderful thing. Don't we all need that?
All right, I'm Jamie Eichenlaub. I'm the marketing director at MPC, and I'm here to talk about how a small newspaper printing company evolved into one of the largest employers in Blair County. In 1954, MPC, originally known as News Printing Company, was purchased by Charlotte and Barney Barnhart. The couple moved from Danville, Pennsylvania to the Roaring Spring area and purchased 3 debt-ridden newspapers, the Williamsburg Journal, the Cove News, and the Hollidaysburg Register. These 3 original newspapers were combined. One was dropped and 2 were combined into one. And in 1955, Barney published the first edition of the Blair Press. He was able to act as writer, editor, photographer, even sold some advertising. Barney and Charlotte were forward-thinking people. They were among one of the first companies to purchase an offset press instead of a letter press to produce their newspapers, and that expedited the printing process. What that did was that created a lot of extra time. They began working with the government printing office to fill press time. And even today, NPC is one of the top suppliers of print-related services to the federal government. The rise in television and radio really crippled the opportunities for advertising in the newspaper business. So the company focused its efforts on government and commercial printing. What started as a 5, maybe a handful of people working at a small newspaper printing company has now turned into a nearly 500-person operation that runs in 4 different production facilities throughout Blair County. To stay true to the company's roots, I mean, there's still about 40% of the workforce that lives in the Morrison's Cove area to this day. MPC takes care of the people who take care of the company. And really, those same people, they invest their time and their resources into the community. Whether it's organizations, whether it's churches, whether it's nonprofits, schools, sporting events, that kind of thing. It's a lot of what is important to the employees is important to the company.
My name's Sarah Soyster. I'm a senior at Central High School, and I'll be talking about the effect of the music program on the area. I've been in the music program for about 6 years now. I started out playing flute and then progressed into playing clarinet, and now I'm in the color guard. When Central High School was first built in 1960, Jack Schaefer was the director, and he was the director clear up until he died in 2002. The band traveled a lot with him. They did a lot of competitions and stuff. Today, the directors are Harold Delosier for the concert band, as well as the middle school, and then Daniel Drum is in charge of the elementary schools and the marching band. I think the music program is great for the community because it gives the kids in the area the opportunity to show their talents and show what our community has. It's really, really great for younger kids. It helps with brain development and all that kind of stuff. And then for middle school and high school kids, it kind of gives them that opportunity to be part of something. It just kind of gives you this warm, happy feeling to know that it's kind of like a family. Maybe if things outside of school aren't that great, you still have that close-knit band family that'll be there for you no matter what. To me, I think it's kind of one of those things that gives you a way that when words can't express the emotions, music can. I think there's definitely a lot of benefits of music on everybody.
My name is Doug Garner, and I'm going to talk about Mamie's Café and Bakery. People go to Mamie's Café for the food and the atmosphere. It is extraordinary food, and people travel from miles and miles and miles to get there for donuts, and personally, I go for the Reuben. Everything is made there by Karen and Valerie and the folks in the kitchen. Valerie and Karen have been doing it for years and years and years. Mamie's, the name, is Karen's great-grandmother, Mamie Teeter, who had a hotel and restaurant where the parking lot next to Mamie's Café is now. It burnt many years ago. Mamie's opened in 2007. They are people that are very active in the community. They are very generous toward the community. It is just a really neat community atmosphere. It is one of those places where you can be a complete stranger and they just welcome you in. I grew up in Martinsburg. I went to Central High School, and I try to get back every chance I can. For many, many years, my dad and I have gotten together with a bunch of guys for coffee in the morning. And even though I'm now out of the area, there are times that I'll leave at 4:30 in the morning and make sure I'm there to meet the guys for coffee. I think that every town needs a place like Mamie's where you can gather over a cup of coffee and great baked goods and have discussions about whatever you want to have discussions about. Whatever the topics of the day are, whether they're comfortable or uncomfortable, it's that conversation, it's that discourse that really helps towns knit together. One of the reasons I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning for a cup of coffee is the togetherness and the community atmosphere that's there.
Stick around as we show you how the community breathed new life into an old landmark. We'll also look at the way citizens in the area pay tribute to veterans and take a look at the religious roots of the Cove. But first, please show your support for the Cove and WPSU by making a pledge. Thanks.
Thank you, and welcome back to the WPSU studios. I'm Patrick Smith, a staffer here at WPSU. I hope you're enjoying OurTown, the Cove as much. I hope you're enjoying it at home as much as we're enjoying it here in the studio. We have the courtesy, we have the privilege tonight of being surrounded by your friends and neighbors who are here answering the phones. And if you look at them, they are bright, they are cheerful, they are happy, and they are waiting in the quiet for your call right now at 1-800-245-9779. A special shout out to my friend Betsy. If you could look back over my shoulder here in the corner at phone number 9 is Betsy, who is charming and bright and witty and who wants to talk to you. And you know, Betty was there the whole last break and Betsy's her twin sister. Betsy was there the whole last break and didn't get a call, and that's tragic. Come on, people, it's prom season. Everybody up and dance. We're all going to get some Betsy some calls right now at 1-800-245-9779. We need to get all these phones lit because Betsy's phone number 9. We can get there. We're going to get there one call at a time, and it starts with you right now. 1-800-245-9779. If you absolutely positively insist on going online to make your gift, you can do that at wpsu.org. Hit that donate button and make your gift online as well. But right now, we want those phones ringing. We want it busy. We know between these two communities, there are almost 4,000 people. We think we should be hearing from about 200 people tonight, but it begins with your call first. My personal challenge to you, will you be the first person to go to that phone right now? Can you be the second person to go to that phone right now? And the third person, you're all important. Get up and go to that phone, 1-800-245-9779. Taking it over to Carolyn, who has a guest that she's going to talk to for a few minutes.
That's right. Earlier in the show, our friend Steve Mowry was one of our storytellers. And Steve, you had an amazing story about your cow. One more time, tell our friends at home what it meant to tell that story to our friends that are watching tonight.
I felt great being able to tell the story. It was big news back in the day, but it kind of died out over the years. And it just felt great that I could tell the story.
That is.
And another thing, my dad just passed away a couple weeks before that, and I'm sure he'd be glad to hear the story.
That's wonderful. And now, Steve, like many of his family members, his sister already called in a pledge at 1-800-245-9779. Is taking home some of those DVDs to be able to share them with other family members, right?
That's right.
That's great.
You just ruined my Christmas surprise.
Okay. Well, you know, it could be for something else. Okay. Well, what I do want to point out is one other thing Steve and I were talking about is being a Covite and being a lifelong member of this community. The sound of support that we've heard tonight is resounding, and that's what makes your community unique, I think, in one way.
We have a very tight community out there. You need help, someone's there to help you, and it's just a great place to live.
That's great.
Go away and come back, and always glad to get back home again.
That's great. Well, we appreciate your sharing your story, and we would love to hear from you right now. If you are a Covite, or if you would like to come out and visit the Cove, we'd love to hear from you with your pledge of support, like Donald Stringer from Tyrone. He might have come out to enjoy Mamie's Café or Richie's ice cream, and he wants to pledge his support. Amy Cooper from Roaring Spring, Chris, Amy, Mia, and Garrett Cooper making their pledge of support tonight. Barry Fry from Roaring Spring. It's Barry and Deb who have made their pledge of support, and we thank them, and we want to have you be our next caller. As Pat was just explaining, that's what we need to have happen right now. We've got this Cove family here, and we would love you to be a part as Steve has joined our family of WPSU and being a member of public media to tell those stories and continue that storytelling out here in central and north central Pennsylvania. 1-800-245-9779. There's a lot of phone lines open right now, aren't there, Steve? So we need those phones to ring.
Please call.
That's right. Let's head it over to the producer of our show here who put those stories together, Bill Wallace.
Now, everybody from the Mowry family who is watching tonight, pay very close attention. Forget everything Carolyn just said about presents. Now, the rest of you who are watching, call 1-800-245-9779 and make your pledge of support for this program. I'd like to thank a few people who have already done so this evening. Genevieve Underwood from Martinsburg called in. We had a web pledge from Chad Ripka in Martinsburg and a call from Joseph and Judy Dilling. And Joseph family owned Dilling store in Martinsburg. So this is one of the things that I appreciate about doing these shows. The family histories that go back generations and generations. The fact that somebody moved into the town when there was not more than a decent patch of woods and a stream where you could put up a homestead, and the generations have built on it from there. It's really, really great to hear people tell those stories, the stories of perseverance and the stories of triumph and the stories of disappointment and overcoming the disappointment. And right now, guys, it's really quiet in here. So let's overcome a little bit of, shall we say, quietude by making a pledge at 1-800-245-9779. And with that pledge of support for $75, we will be happy to send you a copy of this program. And I got to say, I think this one is a really good one. For $120, we will be able to send you 2 DVD copies of this program, and you can distribute the second one however you'd like to whatever family members you think may be appropriate or deserving. But it all starts with a phone call at 1-800-245-9779 to the folks in the studio who are waiting for your call. Carolyn. No. Pat.
Welcome back. It's okay. I don't take it personally, Bill. It's quite all right. I have some people I want to thank. The first person I want to thank is the next person who calls. So go to that phone right now, 1-800-245-9779. Speak to one of our great volunteers. Remember, these are your friends, these are your neighbors, these are people who are active in the community, people who were active in the creation of this show. Great stories to tell, and they've told them. So if you're enjoying the show tonight, we need you to do your part now with a call and a contribution. 1-800-245-9779. I also would like to give a big shout out to our friends at NPC. And every month we produce the program guide. And if you were to look at this month's program guide, you would see on the back we have a proud announcement, a reminder actually, that NPC is a proud longtime supporter of WPSU and has donated the printing services of this monthly program guide for more than 20 years. We do not have a better friend in public broadcasting and at WPSU than NPC. So if you're someone who is a regular member of this station, you can't wait for your program guide to come, well, do a little something now to thank this station and to thank NPC for all their support with your call at 1-800-245-9779. Remember, a basic membership of just $40, you'll get that program guide every month. Make a gift of $75 tonight. You can get a copy of the show and get the program guide. For your contribution of $120, we'll thank you with the program guide and we'll thank you with 2 copies of Our Town, the Cove. This is a great show. If you've been sitting there waiting, trying to decide if you want a copy, don't be silly. Yes, you do. And by the way, Betsy's still not had a call, and I'm getting really worried. Betsy's feelings are getting hurt, so I want some action on those phones, and I want Betsy to get a call right now. 1-800-245-9779. I'd like to thank Mary Ebersol of Roaring Spring. Thank you, Mary, for your good gift tonight. Very gracious of you. I'd like to thank Cindy Ham of Roaring Spring, Pennsylvania. Thank you for going online and making your gift of support. And I'd like to thank Paul and Hazel Fisher of New Enterprise. I think that's our first call from New Enterprise tonight. Thanks to all those folks who've made their gift. Have you made your gift yet? Isn't your community worth that pledge? Isn't your public television station worth that pledge? Don't you take a lot of enjoyment from this station? Don't you love the stories of your friends and neighbors? Well, tonight, those stories that you share at the cafe, those stories that you share at the fire hall or the VFW, they're the point of this program. Those stories are the stories we get to share tonight across all of central Pennsylvania. Tonight, down in the Cove, you're famous, not just in the Cove, but everywhere throughout our broadcast footprint. So help this station, help your friends and neighbors, help us tell those stories. 1-800-245-9779. Do not wait, do not hesitate, go to that phone now. Carolyn.
And Pat, one of those stories that you just mentioned, the NPC family of the Barnharts and their sister, Charlene Dotson in the stripes. I don't know if you can get a shot of Charlene up there. She's on a phone right now, and Charlene told her a great story about her own mom, Charlotte Strove, and Charlotte and Barney Barnhart founded NPC, and they've been longtime supporters. And she's laughing because you know what? The phone bank volunteers have been telling me that the folks calling in are their friends and neighbors from the Cove. So why not join them? And make sure to give a shout out when you do call. Who am I talking to? Chances are it's Chuck O'Merick and Alan Basler and Fred and Steve will attest to. Those are the people, as Pat just said that are the storytellers and also want to hear more of your stories. And Janet Smith from Hollidaysburg, we thank you so much for your pledge of support. But what you are saying is you're the brother of a donor, Fred Geyer, and we thank you for that story. And an anonymous pledge coming in from Martinsburg right now. 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call. Yes, Betsy.
We need 3 calls right now.
We need 3 calls?
And Betsy will be the third one.
Betsy, okay.
3 calls right now.
3 calls. Can we get those phone numbers? 1-800-245-9779. Let's hear that phone ring. Let's get Betsy busy tonight. She drove all the way up here from the Cove. We're based, there she is. She's still smiling, she's still happy, but we need her to be busy and be thanking us for making those phones ring. Again, your pledge of support helps our public television station tell more of your stories. Tonight is just a perfect example of a community that works together, sharing their stories, and then we as a public media outlet bringing those stories to all the other members of our family. And you could be a part of that family by becoming a member and calling in your pledge of support right now. 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call. And if you prefer, you can go online. Thank you very much. wpsu.org. And if you're streaming right now and you're catching us that way, we'd love to hear from you. And we can, with that $75 pledge, send you a copy to wherever you are in the world of this great program that we were able to produce of your stories from your town, the Cove. Perhaps you grew up in this area and you now live outside, and then we've heard from some of you, and you want to keep a copy of all these great stories that are collected on this one DVD. And for a $120 pledge, if you're able to give at that level, we can send you 2 so that you can share it with a friend or neighbor. And one thing that I do want to mention is some of our people that are business members of our community and have pledged their support and are part of the storytelling tonight are going to use their DVD to sell that part of the Cove to other people in the area that might move into the area. A recruiting tool. What do you think? 1-800-245-9779. Let's not keep it the best kept secret. This is a great place to work and live, and these are the stories that matter to you. So please help keep those stories going by calling in your pledge. Do we have Betsy's call busy? Is your phone busy yet? Let's head over to Bill and see if we can keep those phones ringing.
People, please. Give Betsy a reason to go on tonight. We need a few more people to call. We had every one of those bells you heard was somebody else finishing a call, pledging support for WPSU and for this program. And now they're all available to take a call. So Betsy is now last in line again. And we would like to fix that at least once tonight. I'm going to thank a couple of people who called in already. Bob Lape from Roaring Spring, and Nellie and Denny Cower from Roaring Spring called in, and we appreciate those calls this evening. I'd like to give you a little heads up about what's coming. I actually did a while ago, but I'm going to do it one more time. We're going to do a story on the Spring Cove Elementary School bronze dragon sculpture that sits out in front of the school building. It's a very interesting story as well as quite an interesting piece of art. We have a couple of vets organizations in the Cove that are working on things to better things for youth in the community and trying to do things for vets who are in need. We have a story on Valley Rural Electric, a family down in the Cove area that was part of the cooperative that helped bring electricity to farms and rural areas that were unserved back in the 30s and 40s. It's a very interesting little family story. And one of my favorites is a history of some of the different religious groups that moved into the Cove back in the time when they were establishing settlements, and the fact that many of them are still around the area. It's a story of the kind of generational perseverance that a lot of these towns that we cover in this series are known for. This is a sturdy bunch of folks who have had their roots in this area for a long time, and they're proud of it. And they came together on a Saturday afternoon with us and told us why. And this is their chance to tell their stories, and we do this 4 times a year now with this program. And if we want to have the chance to keep doing it, we need to have the support from pledges tonight as we go along so that the money is there for the next one. 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call. We'll be more than happy to send you a copy of the program for a pledge of $75. And for $120, we'll be happy to send you 2 copies of the program. And I'm going to throw it back to Pat so that he can thank a few more people.
Indeed, I'd like to thank Mike and Mindy Ebersol of Roaring Spring. Thank you so much for your gift of support. I would like to thank Brenda and Doug Garber of Martinsburg. Thank you, Brenda and Doug. Great to hear from you. We appreciate your gift. I would also like to thank, sorry, they're stuck up here, Jim and Luann Eckenrode. Eckenrode of Martinsburg, PA. Thank you very much, Jim and Luann. We appreciate your gift of support. I'd like to thank Denise Johnson Hegland from, my goodness, is that from Elkhorn, Wisconsin? Elkhorn, Wisconsin. Thank you. Good to hear from you, Denise. So we'll add that to our big tally board of faraway places. And also, I'd like to thank Rose and Charles. No, wait. Okay. Sorry. Rose, Charles, Gordon, and Jordan and Colby Gojmarak of Johnstown. And that's from Nanny and Pappy in Johnstown. So the grandkids get a little recognition, the grandparents get a little recognition. We'd like to thank everybody in the Cove, but that means that everybody's got a call. So we'd love to recognize you tonight for your support of this community, for your support of this production. And dun dun dun.
Nope, not yet.
Betsy does not yet have a call. Come on. Communities are teams. They're teams where people love each other. They're teams where people work together. They're teams that survive because they care. I care about Betsy. Let's get Betsy a call right now. 1-800-245-9779. Do it for the Cove, but mostly right now, do it for Betsy. 1-800-245-9779. Go to the phone. Carolyn.
She's just one of our great volunteers. Betsy lives in the Morrison Cove community, the retirement community. There's a number of retirement communities. Of course, Homewood, another one there in the Cove. And they stepped up to the plate and just drove all the way up here with their friends and neighbors to man these phones tonight so that they can hear from you. And that's what we're asking for tonight. And we did have a number of responses. Colleen Lamadou from Altoona writes her pledge in memory of Fleta Metzer, Whetstone from Martinsburg. That Whetstone name, I know, Colleen, is a big name out in the Cove. And we want to give a special shout out. I don't know if you can catch our friend Monica Naus, who is on the phone there with her red scarf. She and Pastor Tim have pledged their support. Monica giving of her time tonight and having the phone lines ring, but also pledging her support. There she is, a longtime member. Her husband, a great pastor in the Cove community. Jim Ake from Martinsburg, thank you so much for your pledge of support. And Gary Bechtel from the Gary Bechtel family. Again, I would believe another relative, probably of Lori Bechtel-Weary. We appreciate Gary Bechtel family calling in their pledge tonight. Now, another guy that was on the phones right now, and we need those phones to ring, is Chuck Amerchek. Chuck's story about the Morrison Cove Memorial Park that he gets to run. His 2 sons called in their pledge of support, and he and his wife have pledged their support and are taking home one of those DVDs with a $75 pledge. And call to our 1-800-245-9779. You too can be sent one of these wonderful DVDs that contains not only these amazing stories that we're showing you tonight, but also some additional material. There were so many stories to tell about the Cove, we couldn't put them all in the body of our 1-hour broadcast, our broadcast here on WPSU, and so we're adding some additional bonus material that only you can find by calling in your pledge of support right now. Darren Locke from Portage has called in his pledge of support. Again, you don't have to come from the Cove community to call and be a member of our family here at WPSU, but we'd love to hear from you right now. We thank you so much for your pledges of support and just your support of being a part of public media. These truly are the storytellers, and this is what we are here for. We are here to be able to share those stories with folks from Central and North Central, and now really from around the world with the way we are streaming this broadcast as well as many other programs that we air here on WPSU. So please pick up that phone right now. Don't delay. We've got some more great stories to tell coming up, but we'd love to hear from you right now. We'll send it over to you, Bill.
I have a couple more people I'd like to thank. I would like to thank Greg Norris from Clearfield, who called in with a pledge. He and Karen Norris are both former Covites, and they wish to be remembered to the community. We got a call from Larry Shomo from Dysart. These are folks who do not live in the Cove but are still supporting the program with a pledge of support this evening. Pat said a little while ago that he thought we could get 200 pledges. I don't know what our number is, but I know that the phones have been ringing, but they have not been ringing as enthusiastically perhaps as we would prefer, and definitely not as enthusiastically as we started the evening. So if you are at all interested in seeing more of this kind of programming and promoting the sort of thing that we are doing here tonight, 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call, and we would greatly appreciate your call with a pledge of support. $75 for the program DVD, $120 for 2 DVDs. The 4th segment of Our Town, the Cove, is coming up in literally seconds. Please call in with your pledge, and thank you.
You can also make your contribution at wpsu.org. Click on Donate at the top of the page. It's always available and easy to use. Thanks.
My name is Jason Snowberger, and I'm here to talk about the sculpture of the baby dragon that I sculpted for the Spring Cove Elementary School. I was a graduate of Central High School, so I went to this school district all my life. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to do a public piece to give back to my own community. The dragons are a mascot, so I started there. Then I went with the more youthfulness of the elementary school and thought, how can I make it more of a baby dragon? I used our own mascot that we had and kind of adapted the features. Once the full-size sculpture was completed, I had the superintendent come, the school principal at the time, Betsy Baker, who is now the superintendent. They came and looked at it and they loved it. So you have the original clay sculpture, then you do a silicone rubber mold over top of that. Then you have to cut those sections. I ended up with about 91 pieces. That gets shipped to my foundry out in Colorado. I then had to basically put a 91-piece 3D puzzle together. The thing weighs 1,200 pounds. Having a piece that is part of the community, I'd say honestly as an artist, it's probably the biggest compliment. The children definitely, on the day of dedication, saw it as their dragon and embraced it in that way. And that's the part that I truly, truly enjoyed. This community is a very tight community, I would say. It's a very family-oriented community. It's even more special when you're working with a community that is that tight and that close, and they appreciate the things that you do.
Hi, I'm Don Nisley. I'm here today to talk about the American Legion Gym in Roaring Spring. Back in 2006, the school district had closed the gym and actually closed the elementary school, which became an opportunity for the American Legion, the group there, to take over the gym and remodel it. My uncle was a past commander there who was constantly asking me about coming in to help. We actually made an agreement that the Spring Cove Youth Baseball Parents Association would financially help renovate the basement and the upstairs in order to use the facility. At this point, right now, it's been going 7 days a week. We have 2 batting cages and a throwing lane downstairs. Upstairs, the basketball floor. Every age level is using it for practice. There's even adult groups that come in and do some pickup games occasionally. A group of us decided to put a trophy case in the basement in a big hallway that we had the space for it. And now the different elementary levels, anytime they win a trophy, we've been bringing it there and actually putting it up. And we're, said at some point we're going to have to eliminate second, third, fourth place trophies for the first place trophies because it's filling up fast. And the building is a special place in my heart because that's where I had gone to school. That's where I played dodgeball on Saturdays. That's where I took gym. My uncle, Gary, was a past commander who actually got me involved there. And the story there is that he was just asking me to come up and help, and I promised him I would come up and help him. And at a picnic in 2014, and an hour later he had passed away. He's been motivating me to continue to do things there. We continue to see more projects to improve it, to make it better for the community.
Hi, my name is Tim Knapp. I'm here to talk to you about Cove Lumber, a lumber yard that's situated in Martinsburg. My role at Cove Lumber is I'm a co-owner of the business. My wife Chris and I purchased the business in January 2013 from Larry and Sue Miller, who started the company in 1984. Larry had a construction business. They saw the need for a lumber supply business. Larry continued his construction business while Sue ran the lumber yard. At that time, the business was called Miller Supply. In the mid-90s, the lumberyard had grown to the size where he needed to come help Sue run the business. They changed the business to Cove Lumber. They added some more buildings. Chris and I, had a dream of being a business owner. They hired me on for a couple years with the understanding, they eventually buy the business. So Chris and I then took over in January 2013. Last fall, we added another addition to the store. We now have a kitchen and bath center. We currently employ 10 to 12 employees depending on the time of year. We serve over 50 contractors to the local area, and we put through 600 to 700 customers a week. We run through the store there right now. Larry and Sue still continue to work there, very instrumental part of the business. The people in the Cove recognize them, as Cove Lumber. We often say that it feels like Cheers, everyone comes in, everyone knows your name. I believe the community likes having a local business there. We know everyone, we know them, they know us. It's different than going into, a big box store or something where we know what they want. The community's been very good to us, very supportive of the company. It's a tight-knit community. We're involved with charities and sports. We try to support them. So it's been a good give and take with the community.
Hi, my name is Christopher Bush, and I'm going to be talking about my great-grandfather, W. Floyd Bush, who started Valley Rural Electric. My pap, W. Floyd Bush, was born on May 2nd, 1907. His parents were W. Nelson and Rosa Replogo Bush. He helped them with the Bush Bakery. As a kid, his first job was to sprinkle flour into the dough as his parents mixed the dough. And then in the late 1920s, he was able to start his electrical business. By forming Valley Rural Cooperative, he was able to provide electricity to rural areas. And rural areas at that time, not many people had electricity. Only 6 out of 100 farmers had electricity. And then in 1935, the Valley Rural Electric Act had been passed, so he was then able to get more electricity to rural areas. I think he wanted to just step up and do something good for people. The first meeting for the electric company was set up in his home. At its peak, he had 100 men and women employed. And then in 1973, I think it was, he retired, and it passed on to my grandfather. And it makes me feel really proud of what he did to help people and just get jogging along until where we are today.
I'm Lynette Ham, and I'm here to talk about Spring Mill Employees Federal Credit Union. It actually began at DM Bear Papers in 1954. The plant manager decided to reward the employees for building the paper mill back up after the digester had exploded. And he put up the money to create the credit union for the employees that stayed to rebuild the paper mill. Originally, it started with 8 people, charter members, and now we have like over 4,400 members. They could save their money there. They could fund their own loans, fund their own savings and checking accounts, and they would have a sense of ownership being part of the Cove. The credit union originally was housed in DM Bear Paper Company. As they grew, we moved to Grove Street in Roaring Spring, and then we moved to Main Street, where we were for probably 15, 20 years. And now we have a new building on Woodbury Pike, where we've been since 2004. I've been there 13 years. It's nice. That's one nice thing about the credit union, too. You know the people that come in and out. I grew up here in the Cove. I like the area. I did move away for a while, but I just wanted to come back. I like being here in this nice community, close-knit, everybody. It's a nice place to be.
My name's Rich Thomas. I'm the commander of VFW Post 7689 in Roaring Spring, and I'm here to tell the story of the Cove veterans and the veterans organizations. My mission is to support the local veterans and the community. In the Cove, we got 5 national-based veterans organizations. We have 3 VFWs and we have 2 American Legions. The VFW is made up of combat veterans. You have to have a combat medal or hostile fire pay in order to qualify to join. 60 to 70% of the money that we take in goes back into the community. We give money to the schools, the Spring Cove School District, and we give money to different athletic groups, the YMCA. We support different baseball programs for kids. We support the library. We support the food pantry. Our post actually in the Cove has been a pioneer for women veterans. We have a few women veterans that belong. We welcome all women veterans also to come out. I have a lot of respect for my veterans. I have a lot of respect for people in the club. One of the things that we're having problems with as an organization is recruiting new members. The younger members coming back in the Cove, I've been told by some of the younger members that they feel invisible because, a lot of them are National Guard, Reserve people, and they come back into the community and they kind of, there's less of them to begin with. It's not like, it's an all-volunteer military now, so we have less veterans, and those veterans, they're just not coming out and joining, and I would like to take an opportunity to invite those people to come out and join the VFW. I was born and raised right here in the Cove. I mean, this is my home. I can't say anything more. That's just it. It's my home.
My name is Jack Kreider, and I'm here to talk about Highland Meadows farm, and particularly our maple syrup production. Highland Meadows is an LLC now. It was a hobby that my wife and I have been involved in for a good while. I had retired from teaching, and before that took place, we made the farm an LLC. We raise grass-finished beef. We have honeybees. We produce honey. We have a maple syrup operation from late winter to early spring. It's pretty labor-intensive, but it's a lot of fun. We started out with buckets on trees, and we had tapped 10 trees. We went from there to about 50. We started to get bigger, and we got an evaporator, a small evaporator, and we went from that to a bigger evaporator, and we turned it into a business where we could sell commercially. But we started with buckets, and we then went to tubing. We collect, and we bring it into the sugar house, and we have a reverse osmosis that the sap runs through first. That takes out percentage of the water in the sap, and then we boil the sap down, and it's boiled to a certain consistency. It goes from about 2% on the average sugar to about 67%. We run it through the filter, and then we bottle it. From that point, then it's sold. I grew up in Roaring Spring. My wife grew up in Martinsburg. We were in this school district all of our lives, and when the opportunity came to come back, we took that opportunity.
I'm Bill Bowser, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the history of Morrison's Cove. The interesting thing about Morrison's Cove is that almost every one of the original settlers were German Baptists. There are German Seventh-day Baptists that derive from Ephrata Cloister in eastern Pennsylvania. And one of them is in the Southern Cove, and it still survives to this day. The German Baptists and the Seventh-day Baptists that broke off from them were pacifists. During the French and Indian War, one historian talks about 30 brethren who refused to fight back and were massacred by the Indians. They said, Gottes Wille sei getan, which means God's will be done. Things changed over the years. During the Civil War, the Brethren paid to get out of military service. By the time World War I came around, nobody knew what to do. The government didn't know what to do with the peace people, and the peace churches didn't know what to do with the government. By the time World War II came around, they had a conscientious objector law, but 90% of the young men actually joined the military and served. A couple decades after that came the 60s, and everything went crazy. Although the peace position still is around today, people are very careful to try to make sure it's framed in religious terms. At Clover Creek Congregation, which is the mother church of many of the churches in the area, they have a peace pole out front. And it says in 4 languages, "May peace prevail upon the earth." It's who we are. I mean, in Morrison's Cove, to a great extent, who you are is who you're related to. Some of the older relatives include my dad's great-great-uncle Bryce and his Aunt Elizabeth. She wanted him to go English because in the 1880s, the church was discarding some of the old ways. She wanted him to want to shave off his Dunker beard, but he didn't want to. While he was asleep, she cut the beard off of one side of his face. And she figured, well, then he'd cut the beard off the other side of his face, but he didn't. He went around with half a beard till the other half grew back in. That, I think, says a lot about the Cove, a quiet determination to do what people think is right.
And that's Our Town, the Cove, a look at the Blair County community through the eyes of its residents. Support for Our Town, the Cove comes from Richie's Dairy, serving the Cove and central western Pennsylvania with quality milk and dairy products for over 75 years. Richie's Dairy, fresh from farm to you since 1940. Information at richiesdairy.com. NPC, supporting the Cove community and providing employment opportunities for self-reliant individuals since 1954. Delivering useful, relevant, and often critical communication solutions for customers. Learn more at npcweb.com. Cove Lumber, serving the Cove with building materials and design services, including kitchen and bath, for more than 32 years. Offering quality framing lumber, treated lumber, insulation, siding, hardware, and more. Proud to support the community. More at covelumber.com. Roaring Spring Water, providing bottled spring water, water coolers, and coffee service to homes and businesses in central Pennsylvania and beyond. Apvion Spring Mill, a fully integrated pulp and paper mill producing carbonless, security, high-speed inkjet, colored, and specialty papers, making various types of paper in Roaring Spring for more than 150 years. Information at apvion.com. Roaring Spring VFW Post 7689, with special services for combat veterans and active duty combat veterans. More information at 224-5828. The Borough of Roaring Spring, incorporated in 1887, celebrating the area's residents and heritage and sharing the beauty of the town's natural spring. Information at roaringspring.net. The Nason Foundation, supporting the health and vitality of the Cove through financial support and education. Proud to support Our Town, the Cove. Information at nasonfoundation.org. And viewers like you, thank you.
Folks, take a look at this list of credits at the end of this program. We have had so much help and so much support from people and organizations in this community to put this show together in the first place, whether it be financial or providing facilities so that we can go and meet with everybody or do the interviews. And right now you're seeing a list of, I think, 76 or 77 people who were involved in producing all of the materials that we use to put this show together. This has been a really big program with a lot of community involvement and a tremendous amount of support. And we thank everybody who has been involved in it for everything that they have done. And it's really hard for us to even think about trying to do a program like this on our own. the amount of assistance that we get, whether it's people shooting video for their stories or finding old photographs or any of the other things that they bring to us, that we'd never be able to do without the network of people who do this for us when we come to town and ask. It is just incredible, the people you meet and the friends you make and all of the things that come together in order to give us a chance to put a program like this on the air. And I want to personally thank everybody who showed up to do this with us and for us. And I definitely want to thank every one of the people who have come into this studio tonight to answer phones for us. That's your cue, folks. Answering phones is the point at which you are supposed to make a couple of calls so that they can. Now, I want to tell you that since we made such a fuss about Betsy, she moved to a different phone. And she is currently answering a call with a pledge of support. That's not exactly the way that we had hoped to accomplish this, but Betsy is on the phone, and we thank you for that. There are a couple of people who have called in that I would like to thank before I send it down the line. I'd like to thank Steve Johnson from Loisburg for calling in, and Steve Mowry, who you saw earlier in the program, made a donation to the cause this evening, and Fred and Nancy Marshak of Martinsburg called in. Nancy Holtzinger from Roaring Spring called in. Paula Kuntz with a web pledge from New Enterprise. I believe that's the second phone call from New Enterprise. We'd like to see you guys step it up just a little bit, if you would, please. And the thing I did want to mention about Steve Johnson, he and Tyler Kegerise and Mandy Smith are friends with Susie Mowry Dainty, who is part of the Mowry clan, who, if you recall, is supposed to forget all about Christmas presents that may have been mentioned earlier in the program. So Jess would like to thank a few more people, and I want to thank you for being part of this tonight.
Absolutely. This is your last chance to call in at 1-800-245-9779 to support your community. The Cove is a great community. You guys have shown such generosity and community support throughout this evening. Let's finish strong at 1-800-245-9779. Some folks we didn't get to thank in the last break. We'd like to thank Dave and Janet Imes of Roaring Spring. Thank you so much for your gift this evening. Thanks to Christian Blattenberger of Sarver, who is the brother of Andrew Blattenberger. So thank you so much for your gift this evening. Joe Heinisch of Martinsburg, thank you for your gift. And thank you to Robert Lapp Sr. of Roaring Spring. Thank you for your gift. Remember, at the $75 level, you can receive a copy of tonight's program. You just got a chance to see the whole thing, but there are 2 additional bonus features on that DVD that you can take a peek at $75. Or if you can do $120, we'll send you 2 copies of the program. The important thing, though, is that you take that step and go to the phone to make your call at 1-800-245-9779. Pat?
Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate that much. I'd like to say thank you to Shirley Showalter of Claysburg. She made a call in and wanted us to be sure and give a shout out to her children and her grandchildren. Thank you, Shirley. Would like to thank Michael Kopko of Martinsburg. Thank you, Michael, for your gift of support tonight. Would very much like to thank Kathy Brown of Roaring Spring. Thank you, Kathy. We appreciate your taking the time to call out to us tonight. Let me see, Brenda and Len Forshee of Martinsburg. Thank you, Brenda and Ken. I'm sorry, I think I might have mispronounced that. Ann Imes of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who gave a shout out to Chuck from his Pittsburgh aunt-in-law. Wow. Okay, so Chuck, wherever you are, okay, Chuck's over there. Chuck, your aunt-in-law gave you a big shout out. Okay, good. All right, so we got that taken care of. That's good. We'd like to thank Alyssa Fisher, Alyssa and Luann. Elisha Fisher, Elisha and Luann Fisher of Fisher Party Central. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Okay. But they're still awake, at least, and we like that. And I'd like to thank Richard Keith of Roaring Spring, Richard and Mary Keith, actually, of Roaring Spring. Thank you so much for your call of support. So we've had a lot of people we've had opportunity to thank tonight. As Jessica mentioned, this is our last break but we do still have phone volunteers here. They are giving of their time. This is your last opportunity as a friend, as a neighbor, as a relative, as a spouse, a significant other, to make your call to the folks who are here in the studio and make your gift of support for this show, for this station, and for all of the other shows yet to come. You make our town possible. You made this one possible. You make the next one possible with your gift right now. That number is 1-800-245-9779. I know we might have hedged a little bit. We might have cheated a little bit. I blame producer Cole Cullen for that, for moving Betsy to phone number 1. But the fact of the matter is there's still 9 phones here, and we'd still like to get them all to ring at least once, maybe twice in the time we have remaining. You'll make that possible. You'll make this, you've made this show possible, and you'll make the next show possible right now at 1-800-245-9779. A $75 gift gets you a copy of tonight's show with bonus features, a $120 gift, and we'll thank you with 2 copies of the show, bonus features on each. Bill Wallace, back to you.
The phones are getting there, but there are not that many new pledges coming in that I have anybody new to thank. So, it is time for everyone who might still be awake to step it up, make those few steps to the phone, or go to your local neighborhood computer and turn on the Google and give us a shout out in an electronic form. We will accept web pledges, and we greatly appreciate phone pledges this evening, because that's how you show us that you appreciate the show that we have put on the air tonight and the series that we have been running for over 20 years here. And that's just the sort of thing that makes all of us feel very good in the studio. Hearing the bells ring means that people appreciate what it is we are doing. And I'm really, really happy to hear that. But since I have no one to thank, I may just have to send it back down to Jessica so that she can say a few more words.
So here's what I want you to do. Okay, so you're sitting at home. Maybe you've already called in. If you haven't called in, 1-800-245-9779. I want you to go to your window and you look out the window and see your neighbor, see their lights on. They haven't called yet. That's not good. That is not good. Give them a call and say, hey, hold on a second. Did you make your call to make your pledge of support for Our Town, the Cove? If not, this is your last chance to do it. They'll love it. It's only 10:30. They're still awake. It'll be fine. Give them a call. 1-800-245-9779. You can tell them that the lady in the striped shirt told you to do it. It'll be fine. Or if they prefer, they can also make their gift online at wpsu.org. We have had so much fun in the studio here tonight. We want to thank all of our underwriting sponsors of the show, everybody who has called in thus far, who have made this program such a great success, celebrating the residents of the Cove, the great communities, the great people, the great stories that are there. We are so proud to be able to bring you this program tonight, but the next program only happens with your support. So give us a call, 1-800-245-9779, PAT.
I'd like to give a big shout out to the Kings from Martinsburg, especially Ellie, who got special mention in the Who Else Can We Thank With You category. Thank you so much. Would like to thank Brad, and I think it's pronounced Logue from Woodbury, Pennsylvania, who says, just an old farmer from Woodbury. So, okay, thank you for making your call tonight. Would also like to thank Angela and Daniel from Bellefonte. Thank you very much for your call tonight. We appreciate that greatly. These are folks who are stepping up, doing their part around a great show, also doing their part to support local storytelling in general, and the ability of this station to bring those stories to you 3, 4, 5, and 6 times a year. So please take a moment now, go to the phone, 1-800-245-9779. If you've never been a member of this station, now's the perfect time to start. Begin with a basic membership gift of just $40, and each month we'll send you the program guide so you always know what's playing, you never miss your favorites, you never miss the new stuff, all of the good stuff in the program guide every month. Make a gift tonight of $75, and we'll thank you with the program DVD, which includes those bonus features that we were not able to broadcast tonight. And for a gift of $120, we can thank you with 2 DVDs. So you can keep one for yourself, maybe give someone to somebody else who didn't have a chance to watch the show, or maybe who's moved out of town and hasn't had the opportunity to come back and visit for a while and would really appreciate that look that we provided tonight with Our Town, the Cove. You determine the amount, but be determined to get to that phone right now. Help us finish strong at 1-800-245-9779. You can also make your gift online at wpsu.org. Just hit that donate button and take advantage of our secure server for making your contribution. Bill, back to you.
I have someone new to thank, and I appreciate greatly that someone is still awake, making phone calls. We won't even ask whether you're in your bathrobe. At this hour, we would all like to be. Michelle Bookhammer from Roaring Spring called in with a pledge of support, and we're very happy to hear from everyone who has called in this evening, and everyone who might be on the phone now, and those who might be thinking of calling. We greatly appreciate the support that you give us in viewership and in pledges and all the other things that you do to help make us a strong influence to provide the kind of community programming that we do with this show and the other things that we are able to put on the air. The number is 1-800-245-9779. It is wpsu.org if you go to the web, correct? I don't have that on my teleprompter over here, and I'm afraid I don't have it memorized quite yet. But please, if you have enjoyed this program, if you have watched Our Towns in the past and enjoyed watching those, now is the time to go to the phone or to the web and make that pledge of support so that we can continue to do this kind of programming. I see Jessica has a couple of more pieces of paper in her hands, so she may be able to thank a couple of people before we end the program tonight.
I do, and we only have about 5 minutes left in the show, so if you'd like to be thanked on air, now is the time to call in so that we have time to take your gift. That takes about 2 minutes or so that gives you a little bit of cushion. Best get it done now. Why put off for later what you can do now, right? Exactly, Mother said. So give us a call right now at 1-800-245-9779. A few more folks we'd love to thank this evening. Thanks to Donald Imus of Martinsburg. Thank you so much for your gift this evening and staying up late with us. Thanks to Debbie Wiest of Roaring Spring. Thank you again for your gift. And to the Morningstar family of New Enterprise. Thank you so much for your gift. There is still time to make that call at 1-800-245-9779. Pat.
I know we had kind of started the evening in the hopes that we'd have about 200 contacts with folks who wanted to help us with the production and the sponsorship for OurTown, the Cove. I'm not sure where we're at on that number right now, so hopefully we're at what? 135, so we're kind of short. So there's still time for you to make your gift right now to help support this programming and all of the programming that you find on this station. Take a moment and call 1-800-245-9779 or make your gift online at wpsu.org. And remember, your gift tonight not only helps support this Our Town and future Our Towns, it helps support all of the programming you watch on this station. So if you're a NewsHour fan, if you're someone who watches Nature or Nova, if you love Masterpiece, be it Masterpiece Classic or Masterpiece Mystery, your reason to watch is your reason to call tonight, celebrate with the folks from Our Town, the Cove, and also to support this station. Please take a moment, make that call now. We probably have about 3 minutes before we go back to regularly scheduled programming. But your call at 1-800-245-9779 helps drive us to a successful finish and to a great evening of fundraising and storytelling here at WPSU. Bill, back to you.
Sorry, I was consulting. The time is beginning to run short. It has been a really, really great evening here in the studio. We've kept the volunteers busy. It is now becoming just a little bit quiet, and we'd like to finish with a good, strong rally at the end so that maybe everybody can get on the phones, including Bill Bowser, who is now all the way in the back on the number 9 phone. And I don't know whether he's back there because he's trying to avoid being on the phone tonight, or whether he is just sitting there challenging each and every one of you who are still out there to make a call this evening. We are rapidly running out of time to thank people. I think Jess has a few people she'd like to thank. I'll throw it to her in just a second. But I personally want to thank all of you who've watched tonight, and I want to thank all of you who have called in already with a pledge. We greatly appreciate everything that you do to keep us in the kind of production of these shows that we would like to keep doing. Jess.
I have a few more folks to thank this evening. We have an anonymous gift from Holidaysburg. Thank you so much for that. You know who you are. Thanks to Carol Hamilton of Saxton. Thank you for your gift. And to Bill and Lisa Deffabaugh of Martinsburg. Lisa is the executive director at Homewood. They kicked us off this evening with that great $1,000 challenge. Thank you so much, Bill and Lisa, for your support. Thanks to everybody that called in this evening. This has been such a fun night. Thank you so much to our volunteers who drove up this evening to answer phones. It's a tough job. It's a chaotic job, and you have to make sure that you get everything right on the form. They did a fantastic job. I enjoyed listening to some of the conversations that they were having with you at home. We so appreciate you tuning in this evening for making your gift of support. There is still time to make that call if you have not yet at 1-800-245-9779. The OurTown series is what public media is all about. This isn't something that you're going to find anyplace else. Who else would devote an entire primetime lineup to one program just like this about community members telling stories? They shoot the footage, they tell the stories. We're just proud to be able to bring it to you, and it's because of support from people just like you. So thank you so much for your support. Thanks for calling us at 1-800-245-9779, or if you made your gift online at wpsu.org. It has been so much fun here this evening. Thanks to the Cove New York style pizza in State College for providing us delicious food this evening that kept us all nice and full, and you know, it was pretty good, right? Thank you so much, everybody who has called, and to our volunteers, to our fellow hosts. We hope that you enjoyed this program this evening. Won't you tune in next time for the next Our Town? Thanks. Have a good evening.
You can also make your contribution at wpsu.org. Click on Donate at the top of the page. It's always available and easy to use. Thanks.
We now join the following program, already in progress.
Well, I think we all have a lot of respect for each other as people and, you know, musically. So that's number one. I mean, I could go on and on about everybody's qualities, but just their knowledge and they have a lot more experience than I do. So I learn a lot from playing with them, and I think that's the most beneficial thing. But I think the core of it is that our mutual respect for one another.
1, 2, 3.
Sometimes you forget that not everybody wants the same things as you do. And every now and then we all must pretend that the things we're doing are worthwhile. 'Cause if it's all for nothing, why even try to stay present, even if the thought of death is always lurking. 'Cause if it's all for nothing, why even try? And talking only gets you so far. And doing doesn't always mean winning. Your mind is at war with your heart, and you wonder if something could allow you back in. Once you're out of living, I try to understand why we demand to have all the answers, all the reasons. Well, ask someone who truly knows, and they'll tell you just to open up your eyes. 'Cause if it's all for nothing, why even try? Well, if it's all for nothing, then there's no wrong or right. And the odds are bluffing to make you give up the fight. Well, if it's all for nothing, why even try?
Yeah, this community is just awesome with all the different styles of music, and the musicians and the community of musicians are really helpful to one another, and it's just a great place to be in.
Well, I seen you here and there, traveling without a care. Sunlight, shadows, mine. But now the day grows long, and suddenly you're lost in song. You know it won't be too long. I got nothing to compare you to. I got nothing so sublime. One and one is two, two and two is five. I guess I'll see you on the side. I know your evil ways. I know what others say. I know your love so divine. But
strive to sound like a rock band, to sound like an entire orchestra, and we don't hesitate to arrange actually orchestral pieces even for 2 violins and really try to make it so that it's not, you know, what is lacking, but what do we actually still add to that arrangement when we arrange them.
I've been playing for about, I don't know, probably like 15 years now, and fell into this group. Natalie and I just started playing, and I really liked her songwriting, and everybody else is just real fun to play with. It's a real honest songwriting and musically based group, and it's what I'm about.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It could have been worse, I guess. I could have done a little more. I should have said a little less. Well, I've been here before, cleaning up my own damn mess. Things aren't so linear. I don't even know what's best. Does the punishment fit the crime? And no one's giving me a chance to deny. The blame falls on both sides. Nobody wins this time. I'm swallowing a bitter pill. I wash it down with salty tears. I can remember still, even after all these years, it does me no good until I start talking to the mirror. It never dies and never will. It'll always reappear. And now the devil's up to testify. And no one's giving me a chance to deny. It's too late to change your mind. Nobody wins this time. The evidence is lost and gone. The testimony still holds strong and true. The jury is just you alone. The judge is just a child unknown. And now I'm looking for a place to hide. 'Cause no one's giving me a chance to deny. I'm caught between the black and white. Nobody wins this time.
On Masterpiece.
Blessed are the dead, for they rest from their labours.
Married twice, widowed twice, and never a tear have you shed for either of them.
Life insurance. How she loves to tell a man what to eat, what to drink, what to do.
Things always seem better after a nice cup of tea.
There's a darkness in you, Marianne.
Dark Angel. On Masterpiece.
Sunday night at 9 here on WPSU.
I'm
I'm Sue Herrera with a nightly business report news brief. Investors put money back into stocks as the market recovered from their worst drop of the year. The Dow added 56 points to 20,663. The Nasdaq rose 43 and the S&P 500 was up 8. It was a better than expected quarter for the world's largest retailer as Walmart topped earnings estimates and reported growth in key areas. The Trump administration formally told Congress it intends to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement, otherwise known as NAFTA. And the Federal Communications Commission voted to begin undoing some of the Obama-era rules governing the Internet. General Motors will stop selling cars in India and shed its South African business as it continues